Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to In the Real. Here with Jen, Cheryl, and Eric. I am Eric, obviously, because I'm the only guy named with the guy voice.
This is Jen. This is Cheryl.
Welcome, welcome. It is, what the hell is today's day? I know it's Saturday, April.
The 4th?
Is it the 24th?
Okay.
23rd.
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 Day ahead.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go a little faster.
Right.
Well, we're doing a kind of, I guess you'd call it a supplement podcast. We realize we still need to do the updated reviews on the Stephen Avery case, so we're getting to that. We're doing our research, we're trying to get some good data. But I'm sure if you don't know, you're going to find out here shortly. A day or so ago, Thursday, if I remember right, Minnesota lost a very prominent icon. And so we're going to talk about Prince today. Well, our primary thing is we're going to talk about some facts that I'm sure people are finding out left and right just because they're looking him up now. And stuff that we didn't even realize that we found out. We're going to talk about those things. But an idea that I had is because he became such a prominent artist, musician during our youth, that it'd be nice to kind of share the things, our experiences during that time frame as we were younger, how we experienced his music, and if it had any real effect or anything like that. Because people are saying, I've read on Facebook, people talking about how his music got them through something. Now, I personally don't have a story like that, but people are pretty close to things like that, I guess. But so we had some interesting things that we had found out, and we're not going to be talking much about what took place or why he's dead because, fact be known, there are no facts yet. We're not going to speculate and be a bunch of dicks here and be stupid about it. And that's one thing that yesterday Jen and I actually had a conversation a little bit about that was very bothersome to me, is how right now every little thing is just a speculation and they're making a big deal about it on the media, and it's like a tearing them down process, and I just disagree with that crap. It's like, leave it alone. You don't know anything yet, and yet you're making it into a big deal. And people are going to misunderstand that, and then it's going to turn out to be a negative thing, and that's just not the way to be going.
It kind of feels to me like they know they don't have anything to say yet, because none of the results are out or whatever, but they still have to mention them. I mean, they might as well get on the air and say, hey, we have nothing new to report yet, but we don't want you to forget about Prince.
Right.
That would be better.
That would be way better than what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
Rather than this shit, we found out he went to the pharmacy 4 hours before he died. Big fucking deal.
I heard people talking left and right. Like, I was at the Horse Expo all day today, and I heard people just passing by, people talking about it. And somebody was like, oh, he was treated for an overdose a couple days ago. And it's like, I didn't hear that. I mean, yeah, he went to a pharmacy or whatever, and he was treated for the flu or flu-like symptoms. But now it's over-sensationalized, and it just bums me out because they don't know yet. Right. You can't say that. And even if it's true, okay, will eat my hat. But we don't know that yet.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of this that I was reading was that, was at the electric fetus on Monday, then he was riding his bike, and some lady came out in her hair foils getting her hair done, and he waved, so it's just like, okay, really, yeah, there's not a whole lot to report there. They're just kind of like, well, this is what he did up until then. Which is understandable because it's still kind of, confusion. Nobody knows what exactly happened.
And I guess my point to the matter is it's all speculation on what was a cause. So let's not sensationalize one little point about it because you don't know if that had anything to do with anything.
Right.
And I do know some information about the overdose treatment he got. That was his emergency landing in Chicago when he was leaving Atlanta that he did a concert.
Okay.
Returning home, I believe.
Yeah.
He had that emergency landing in Chicago, and they gave him a treatment for an opiate OD. Well, it was Percocet. But now, even though that information is known, what we don't know is what reason he had the Percocet, how he got the Percocet, what was the ailment he was treating for that. Well, we know that a few years, I don't know about the timeline, he had been diagnosed with needing a hip replacement.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if he was in pain, he was probably prescribed Percocet. Now, if he just got done doing a concert, he's dehydrated, that Percocet's probably going to take a little bit more of an effect.
Mm-hmm.
And if he took a dose that was okay to take, it might have been too much in his current condition, therefore needing that to happen. Or maybe he just mistook his medications. He took it too early or something. That's my point to the matter. We don't know what that shit is about. So then to start talking, he was ODing on drugs. What the fuck are you saying?
And he's never been in the news before for like ODing and, been known for drug use or alcoholism or anything like that. So we really don't know. And even if that was the case, there may be, extenuating circumstances like you're saying.
Right. And I'm just speculating on the reason. I don't know. And that's kind of really, again, the point of the matter. And I guess I don't want to dive too much in. I don't know if Cheryl, you had anything more to add about that stuff, but we really want to focus on the more positive things.
Exactly. That they just, a lot of the recent news lately is just, just saying that. I think somebody said that, one of his friends said that, he lived a clean life. He was not addicted to drugs and alcohol.
Right.
And he was even like a committed vegan,
Yeah.
Right.
And he turned to religion in his later years, like very heavily, which like somebody that was in drugs at one point tends to do.
Right.
And we're not saying that he was because we've never heard of that. But typically, the religion becomes the drug.
Right.
With certain people. And I don't know if that was the case with him, but just. I don't know what it is, but you're not ready to say that or speculate on it until you get the tox screen. And now they're saying it might be like even months before they get the tox screen, which I don't understand.
Right.
But
weeks for results.
Right.
The last information I got that I have found from the examiner is they requisitioned the reports from the treatment that he got in Chicago and any medical records while he was in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So before they release anything that they do get back, they want to collaborate with that information to determine what I'm guessing now, what they may have found and the purpose behind it before they start saying, this was in a system. Mm-hmm. Well, there was a reason for it, so we're going to say this was in a system for this purpose. Yeah. So that's not a problem. Maybe that's the situation. And it seems logical, and I think that's very responsible on their part.
Mm-hmm. I think so
we're not going to say anything until we know what and why, because that's just the way it should be. And yet, the media doesn't act that responsible.
No.
It's like you're still shooting shit out there for no point in reason, and that's just creating a bad image.
It's called sensationalism, right? Sensationalism?
Sensationalism.
Is that how you say it? Yeah, you're right. I'm adding almost like karaoke. I'm adding another...
You're improving upon our English language.
Right.
Yeah.
An intentional composition decision.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, just suffering the chronic back pain that I have and the amount of pain that I'm in today after being at the expo all day, walking around, kind of wish I had some Percocet.
That's some serious shit. I had that once. My sinus surgery, I think I had.
Yes, you did. And you broke out in hives.
Holy crap, I didn't even like the way it made me feel, but it took pain away, I'll tell you that.
I had to help him walk to the bathroom in
crawl.
Him. It was like lifting a dead body because he couldn't help me. Right. And I'm like, dude, Eric, you're a big guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm helping him limp to the bathroom. It was bad. Wow. Broke out in hives and everything. I called the office and they were like, well, tell him to stop taking the antibiotics. It wasn't the antibiotics, it was the Percocet. Okay. Which we figured out later, and then they gave you Vicodin, but by that time you didn't need it.
I think they just gave me Tylenol 3. The Vicodin was at my teeth that I got
okay.
pulled,
Okay.
Yeah, it was it was weird because the antibiotic was actually a cool thing because it was like I was going to take like three pills once like a week or some shit like that, and it was like done. Rather than like every 6 hours or every day, whatever the hell it was. So that was cool, and that wasn't the problem. And then I couldn't go back to that because all of a sudden I had another antibiotic in me, so I had to stay on that. But it was the damn Percocet. I was going to try to tough it out. It was like, I'll just stop taking it. I don't need it. It doesn't hurt that bad. And when that started wearing off, when the itching was going down, well, the pain was going up. It's just like, okay, I'm going to need something.
Yeah.
And this is somebody that doesn't normally take meds at all. Doesn't matter what kind of pain he's in, but that was pretty extreme.
Oh, man, that was not going to work out.
So that's the one thing, I guess, it is speculation on my part saying that if the tox screen does come back with that, like the opiates and everything, being that he needed a hip replacement, I think it's totally understandable if that comes back.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because really, I mean, if you've ever kind of experienced that low back pain or hip pain, and this guy's out there performing every day, giving it his all.
Right. 57,
That
you know,
shit fucking
yeah.
hurts.
57, yeah.
57 years old and he's jumping off
Still-
speakers and heels.
Yeah.
You know, he was amazing.
Yeah.
I guess that's a thing.
Mhm.
And to think of him as a chronic pain, you know, patient or whatever, then I can understand that.
Right.
Not understanding the flu-like symptoms like you were talking about. And again, this
Right.
is pure speculation. So, and then dropping dead in just like his elevator.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, what if he did have
That's-
some kind of a flu going on and then
Mhm.
performing that concert and then being dehydrated on the flu, taking a pain med?
Mm-hmm.
I would assume that would warrant some kind of emergency situation. And then when he gets back home, still recovering from that, what kind of toll is that going to take on the body since he just got some other treatment? And then if he was like, oh, I'll go back to my pain medication, and then that was a bad thing. I mean, maybe that was just a combination of things in his system that just wasn't going to jive real well. I mean, and again, we're speculating on stuff we don't know.
Right. Don't know.
But it could come down to it was just a mistake in taking medications that he shouldn't have been at the time.
Or what'd you say, acute cardiac?
My
aneurysm?
speculation was an aortic.
Aortic. There you go. Aneurysm.
Aneurysm or some kind of arterial aneurysm that would have had a quick release on bursting and just dropped down. But, you know, with all this other information, you know, that might not have been it. It could have.
We'll just have to see.
We don't know. Nobody knows. So.
Yeah. Well, there's some things, you know, in here that, like, you know, some of the publicists that he worked with as a journalist, or even like the, you know, producers of the videos that he made, you know, were saying that, you know, he was a perfectly healthy human being. Some of the journalists, she said something about he had limitless energy. She never saw him drink or do drugs or anything, you know, so just, you know, so I thoroughly believe that he was not a drug addict or an alcoholic, you know.
And how many people have died from mixing medications or taking them incorrectly or did something by accident?
Right.
And who's to say that that wouldn't have happened to him? And the reason why I bring that up is because it was stated, I believe, by his publicist that had the recent the first announcement that he confirmed that he had died.
Yeah.
Was he was a very private person. It was not unusual for him to be in the Paisley Park complex alone for a long period of time and not be able to get a hold of him.
Yeah.
Just because that's the way he was. I can understand that. I'm like, I can be here all by myself and no problem and not talk to anybody. I'm okay with that. So not having people around to worry about what your health is at the time with medications that you might be taking, he might not know what he should or should not have been doing correctly. And it could have been just an accident.
Yeah.
And, you know, I guess we'll find that out.
Yeah, we'll have to wait to find out.
Yeah. Well, I think an interesting person that I think would be, I don't know, I don't know why they didn't interview this person is that, he was last seen Wednesday at 8 p.m. And a friend had dropped him off at Paisley Park. Okay, what kind of? I would be interested to find out what kind of condition was he in.
Oh, I'm sure
they dropped him off.
they.
Was he feeling sick? Was he feeling it? Was he totally fine?
Right, I can't imagine them not already having done that, but really that's part of the investigation, I'm sure.
Oh,
so I'm sure that's not going to be mentioned until
kind of stricken from the record for now until
probably
they find out more information.
probably gave him the hush hush, don't say anything.
Yeah.
So beyond the speculation and beyond the guesswork and waiting to find out, we wanted to do this podcast because we really wanted to kind of go over how much he meant to not just us personally being Minnesotans and growing up with his music, but to everybody out there, because I don't know what it seems like to you guys, but to me, it seems like it's not just Minnesota, not just the U.S., but it's the world that seems to be really saying, "Oh my God, we have to mourn Prince,"
right?
Because he was phenomenal.
A legend. I mean, kind of up there with Elvis Presley.
He's an icon.
You know? Yeah.
I actually said to Eric the other day, I said it might sound sacrilegious to say this, but it's kind of like he was the Elvis of our time.
Yeah, I would agree.
when you were mentioning that, we
Mhm.
kind of got into this conversation of analogy that with the entertainers of today, in my eyes, we had the Elvis, then the other big popular stars that were really full entertainers that were really about their music. We had the Elvis, we had Michael Jackson, Prince, Madonna.
Yeah.
You can't forget about Queen and the Beatles.
Queen,
and,
right.
Yeah, I mean,
Now,
Led Zeppelin.
right.
And we had a lot of icons.
A lot of icons, and they contributed so much to that industry of entertainment with their art form in specificity.
Specificity.
There we go. Yeah, we're learning our English language today. But yet, in their very
I might have even gotten that wrong.
being unique, and yet people used what they did, and that's just fantastic. And
love them or hate them, you still can't take away that they're icons.
that's right. And that's the very good point, because we talked about that. Not I won't put words in anybody's mouth, but for me, Beatles, no, I'm not a fan of the Beatles, but I do not take away from the fact that they contributed something serious to the music industry. Number one. Number two, they do have some songs that I really don't mind, but Beatles fan, I'm sorry, I'm just not. But yet I take no credit away from what they did. They deserve that credit.
Right.
Okay, Elvis, I'd put him on a pedestal. Now, he was obviously a little stupid with his care. And I hate to say that because I adore the guy.
He was amazing.
But obviously, somebody wasn't helping control him. And at that time, there wasn't
Maybe
that
managed.
kind of stardom.
Right.
And nobody knew how to manage that.
Right.
So
Not control, manage it.
right, that's probably a better way to put it.
Helping people that get in that position of such power and everything, they do really need somebody to help manage them.
Right.
Whether it's like their best friend or their parent or somebody that they can trust, they do need somebody to help manage that because.
And the douche he had was
Right.
a money grubbing prick.
In the era, was
right.
it was right along the time of like Judy Garland, Marilyn Monroe, Lucille Ball. They all pretty much died of an overdose of something, didn't they? I'm pretty sure. I don't know exactly about Lucille Ball, but I'm sure it was some kind of
I'm not sure.
chemical or something like
But
that. I don't know.
your point is valid, though. That era, it
was just out of control.
It was out of control. Nobody knew
the
yet.
dangers.
Well, Judy Garland, just taking her circumstance, and Mickey Rooney and everything, they talked about how back in their day, as a young star, they would give them uppers in order to get the performance out of them, and then give them downers in order to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And then they wake up in the morning and give them more uppers.
Yeah.
I mean, they were constantly drugged and medicated, and they called them vitamins.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're talking about like meth.
Yeah.
And Dilaudid. Yeah. I mean, they had
Opiates
serious fucking drugs to keep these kids running. And Elvis, really, it's right in that sex, drugs, and rock and roll phase. Right when the Beatles, I mean, he was popular in the 50s, of course, but when the 60s and 70s rolled around, he was right in that.
Yeah.
Right.
Why wouldn't you don't know there's anything wrong with it. We haven't heard all the reports from the 60s and 70s because he was in the 60s and 70s.
Right. Yeah, the warning labels on things
right.
like there are nowadays.
Right. So yeah, being to that situation to, that mismanaged to where we at now. I mean.
Well, and then look at Michael Jackson.
Right. I mean,
he didn't know any better. He had a doctor giving him drugs.
Yeah.
Right. And for what seemed to be valid reasoning, but yet not a good idea.
Yeah.
And because of those risks ended up taking his life. And, that's what, I guess that's the point of the matter that we're making there.
Right. And chemicals affect everybody differently. Prince being as healthy, as that they are stating that he is, any kind of chemical introduced to his body just could completely affected him differently than any other human being. Maybe they gave him too much.
Right, and that's why my speculation of he could have been taking his meds normally and just been dehydrated, and that's just not going to go well.
Yeah.
Well, have you seen that guy's sweat on stage?
Oh, no kidding.
He's dripping because he is just rocking out.
Yeah.
I mean, he must have lost.
And he was a little dude.
He was very small, right?
They said his only addiction was like a chocolate coffee at Caribou Coffee or something like that, no cream. Yeah, it was kind of cute. I was like, oh, that was like his one addiction.
Well, one thing Eric and I were talking about that we really appreciated, getting back in, off the drug thing and back into the appreciation of Prince, is that he became a huge star. He became a huge star when he was here.
Yeah.
And unlike other stars, he actually fucking stayed.
Right. Well, I mean, he had a place in Paris as well.
He did, but
he always came back here,
back.
right?
That's the thing. And he would spend time in California or whatever, but he always came back.
Right,
he had a
here.
home base here. Yeah. He lived here. He loved here.
Yeah.
And we loved him.
Right. I saw him at Paisley Park.
I'm so jealous that you did. I mean, just bringing that up,
Mm-hmm.
I am kicking myself because I never saw him live.
Yeah.
And I didn't know they had parties at Paisley Park.
Yeah.
Why the fuck did somebody not tell me? I didn't know they had parties at Paisley Park, and he would just play
every other Saturday or
that
something
makes
like that,
it that much more harder. Like, does somebody have a dagger? I just need to like shove it in my heart.
Do you have a wound? I can pour more salt in there. Yeah,
maybe some vinegar.
I think it was either
get the guns.
Right.
Get
It
my
was
guns.
like every other Saturday or like the first Saturday of something like I could be completely.
Well, from
it was
some
kind
stuff,
of regular.
Yeah, it was very regular from some of the stuff that I had found out, and maybe I misread it, but from what I understand. There'd be times he would just, let's have a party tonight, and it was just, that's how it was put together. And people, I don't know how people knew, but the fucking people would show up.
Oh, yeah.
I apparently was not connected to any of those people.
Yeah. Nobody. I didn't understand. And when he left Atlanta in that emergency stop, he had a party here, and he got on stage and told people, wait a few days to, start your prayers about me, because he was joking about it because he was claiming he was okay. And that's why he threw that party. He wanted people to know he was fine.
See, you don't say that if you're fucking like cracked out of your mind.
Right.
You wouldn't say shit like that.
You wouldn't say anything like that. He would just make it a joke, like, it's all right. It's like the flu. I'm fine.
Right.
And another point that you had made, going back just on the tales of the drugs and celebrities with lives like that, and alcohol and whatnot, you never heard him in the news about a bad thing ever.
No. But he was very private, and he actually made a point to be very private.
Very much so.
Elvis was private too.
Right. But Prince, he got in bad, somebody had taken his words out of content, and so he kind of swore to not be media publicized. If he was going to be any news was going to be released, it was going to be with his permission.
Right.
And so he was a very private person. But on the other side, he would have concerts for the public every week. So it's how private can you be? He just appreciated his public, I think, but he didn't want all this media speculation.
He was a master at that. I mean, there's a lot of stars that can't figure that out, and he was a master at that.
You can't get his shit on YouTube.
No, exactly.
Keeping his life private and keeping a lid on what he wanted to be public and not, and what he wanted to be released or not. No, you got to buy my shit. Right. He was a master at that, just a genius.
But we mentioned Michael Jackson. That guy was in court all the time. He had bought off stuff from time to time. I mean, he was a huge star.
Yeah.
Very big icon. And yet there was shit going on that you heard about.
Right.
And it wasn't just him. They had his family members and stuff like that. But when it came to Prince, you never heard anything like that.
Right.
And so getting into some of the unusual facts about him that, I guess as John Q. Public myself, I didn't know. I had no idea he'd been married twice, divorced twice.
Yeah.
He had a child that died.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Never had another one after that.
Wow.
He has a sister.
Yep, I knew that.
That is blood related, not step sister.
Okay.
Who I saw just before we started this podcast is the speculation she's getting his $1 billion inheritance of his estate.
Okay.
It's like, oh my gosh, really? I mean, maybe it's 100 million. I don't know the dollar amounts to it, but when it comes down to it, though, the guy was really worth a lot of money, and a sibling is getting all of this. A sibling I never knew he had, never knew the name of.
Yeah.
But also was talented musically,
okay.
and was part of the music scene, but you never knew it.
Right.
Yeah. So it's very, very unusual. So there's some fun facts that he had family, and he had a private life, a family of his own. He tried to, but it just didn't come up that way. So what else is there that you don't know about this guy? And that obviously he was living his life. Early on in the early 80s, he had plenty of female companions
Mm-hmm.
in the physical realm, and yet you never even heard about those.
Right. Right.
It
Besides,
took until Purple Rain came out. I didn't even know he and Apollonia were a thing, and I was like, "Fuck, she's hot."
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I was like, "What a perfect couple."
Yeah. Yeah.
Then they break up.
Right. So yeah, I mean, it is unfortunate we miss out a lot of stuff about this person, and we're learning about it now. But yeah, heck, I would have, even though it would have not been a pleasant thing with the crowd thing, I'd have gone to Paisley Park and watched him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have
$10 cover charge
Yeah.
to see a live concert
Yeah.
By Prince.
Fucking
Yeah.
right, man.
Instead of paying $55 at the Excel or
Mhm.
something. I mean, hell yeah.
And they would just like randomly play just music, it didn't matter, it wasn't always covers, it was just like whatever they're working on now.
Right.
I am so
Yeah.
angry at you for never telling me this, Cheryl.
This was like probably, God, at least, I almost want to say probably 20 years ago. I was probably like maybe 16, 17, maybe 18.
Mhm.
Well, when we're done here, you're still getting a beat down.
Nice. All right. Because I didn't tell you guys, sorry. Yeah, it was fun. No, I just went there. We just showed up. I don't even remember who told us. It was just me and a couple friends. They're like, hey, you want to go to Paisley Park? You want to watch Prince? We're like, yeah, sure, why not?
Mm.
Stood in line, got, basically, I stood probably 10, maybe 15 feet from him.
Mhm.
He was walking by, got up on stage. They played for a couple gigs and sets, and let's see, maybe it was about a 2-hour gig.
Wow. That's
But
still
they
awesome.
took breaks, and then people would eat and then drink and then just socialize, and you'd see them kind of just walking around, and then they get back up on stage, play a little bit more, and
But
then
you think about it. I mean, for $10 for 2
Yeah.
hours,
Very casual. type
Dad,
Yeah.
you go to Dad's gig and it costs like $5 to $10 depending on the day or whatever, and he plays for 4 hours.
right.
To see Prince do that for even 20 minutes, I'd pay $10.
And it was very casual, like very casual.
That's
like
awesome.
it wasn't all like, people, ladies and gentlemen, you stay over
Right,
there. Here
right.
comes, it was just like, hey, there he is standing right, look, he's walking right by, like, hey, what's up?
Well, it's like you can tell in his, and I might be jumping ahead here. I don't know if you guys are ready to move on to this, but I could tell at least, and I think most people can tell that he really, really had a passion for music. He lived it. It was in his bones.
Well, he wrote songs for how many musicians?
How many stars?
How many songs? I mean, still even to this day, I'm sure people are still singing his lyrics.
Well, I didn't
them.
know this. Eric told me this, that he wrote for Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah.
Her Nothing Compares to You or something like that. One of the real
wrote that
famous.
song.
He wrote that.
That's awesome.
And doesn't sing it himself. Doesn't keep it to himself. Just writes like crazy and goes, here, why don't you sing this?
Yeah, yeah.
And how generous is that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, another one a popular one, Manic Monday.
Yeah,
Oh,
by the
yeah.
Bangles.
He wrote that song.
Oh, wow.
Just another manic Monday.
Yeah.
All right, rocking it out now.
Yeah.
If the information, I printed off some information, and one of the things I didn't print off because the format wasn't very friendly, was some popular songs that he had wrote, and you never knew.
Mm-hmm.
But you can look those up online. You will be shocked to know some of the stuff that he did.
He had a list.
Now, in one of the things, I printed off a bunch of stuff from Wikipedia, so I'm sure everybody's read through that shit already, but I highlighted this a little bit ago, and I'll kind of go a little bit off of it.
Can I just say this thing before you get into that?
No, go ahead.
One of the first things they say on Wikipedia, his name was Prince Rogers Nelson. I didn't know that he was actually named Prince.
Never knew that.
Yeah.
And then reading into like his father,
Mm-hmm.
his father actually used the stage name Prince. So he said he wanted his son to basically start off where he wanted the world for him. So he named him Prince after his stage name.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I thought that was pretty cool because his dad was a musician too.
Yeah.
He was a jazz musician and actually pretty popular and famous at that. He actually worked with Prince a couple of times.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow, that's intriguing.
Prince wrote his first song with his dad right there when he was 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yep, that was something that I had read.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the songs, just to give you an idea, one of the things that I highlighted in here was in 1989, Prince appeared in Madonna's studio album Like a Prayer, co-writing it, and singing the duet Love Song.
Oh.
Also playing electric guitar for Like a Prayer and Keep It Together, and he was completely uncredited.
Wow.
And an act of contrition. That was another one he played the guitar on.
I'm thinking about that and thinking like a prayer right now.
Mm-hmm.
Does it surprise you that Prince was a guitar player? Because I always thought the guitar was awesome.
Right.
Yeah,
And I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
That
I
makes
had no
sense.
idea.
I would have been, yeah.
So there's just one person, a big star, he wrote music for, did play music for, did some lyrics for, and you had no idea.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, here's another fun thing. Everybody knows Bat Dance.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a fun thing.
Dance.
He was working on some musical projects, Rave Unto the Joy Fantastic, and early drafts of his Graffiti Bridge film. All that got put on hold because Tim Burton asked him to record several songs for Batman.
Okay.
And so he put all that on hold, went and produced, actually, an entire 9-track album for Warner Brothers for Batman.
Wow.
He had to sign over all the rights to the music. That was part of the deal. So none of it was his after that. But he did 9 songs. Released June 20th, 1989, Batman peaked at number 1 on the Billboard's 200, selling 4.3 million copies.
God, I hope they gave him some of that money.
The single Bat Dance topped the Billboard and R&B charts.
Right.
In addition, the single The Arms of Orin with Sheena Easton charted at number 36. Party Man also featured the vocals of Prince's then-girlfriend, nicknamed Anna Fantastic.
Okay.
Nice.
So she was in that.
Names.
Charted at number 18 on the Hot 100 and number 5 on the R&B. And the love ballad Scandalous went to number 5 on the R&B chart. I already mentioned that he had to sign away all the publishing rights to Warner Brothers, and that stuff took off. And he did it because Tim Burton asked him to do it for the movie.
That's crazy.
We went and actually watched the original Batman because we're total geeks.
Yeah.
And that's what Warner Brothers puts right down there. And music by Prince in
nice.
giant letters. I'm like, good.
Good.
And yet, that was, you had mentioned we were watching it. Prince did, I'm sorry, that fucking cat watching a cat jump just makes me laugh. It's the second time he's done it. We were down here.
He's gotta be, we got him when he was 12 pounds. He has to be about 15, 20 pounds now.
It's funny to watch him
watching
leap
his giant
4 feet
ass
up.
leap that high up because he's still a kitten. That's pretty funny.
So you had pointed out when we were watching it, he did the music that the popular stuff in there, but there was somebody else who cut the scores for the movie.
Actual music, the movie score music, like the Batman theme or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, I wonder if that's Casey Jones. I really have no idea who it was.
I don't know, but
yeah, it'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's easy to find out. But yeah, so there's actually 2 forms of music into this movie. It's not all by one person, and they didn't just pull music from someplace else. They had stuff written for it by a musician, and they had stuff scored for the movie.
And I'm sure you don't remember it because you probably haven't seen that movie in a very, very long time.
I've always loved the first Batman. That's the best Batman ever.
Oh God, it was so good.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson.
We grew up on that movie. How did you think I would forget it?
I don't know, but I don't know. I know we're going to get into this later about talking about the impact of the songs, but I have to mention that just because we're talking about the movie. That scene with Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
And I can't remember which one it is. Is it
Vicky Vale?
Oh. Is it the Bat Dance or is it the Party Man?
Party Man.
In
the museum.
In the museum when he's splashing the paint and everything like that. That has stuck with me through life. And every time I listen to that song, it just makes me feel happy. I'm just so excited. I just want to dance. I'm like, yes, I fucking love this song. I don't know what, something happens to my brain.
Okay.
If you get artistic about it, you think, first you have this music by a fantastic talent that alone is fabulous.
Phenomenal, right.
You didn't have to put it to anything.
Right.
Then you put it in the movie with the scene that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so fitting.
Yeah.
And then you add the talents of Jack Nicholson doing his thing.
Dressed up as the Joker.
Right.
Who was actually scary to me back in the day. I was actually frightened by his character back in the day, but I love it.
Oh, he did such a great job. And I don't know if he was listening to the music while he was doing that scene.
He acted like he was.
But it had to have been, because, man, that was just, it was excellent.
Or they had like an angel as the choreographer, because that could not have been more perfect.
Right.
It was awesome.
Still always wonder,
choreographer, sorry.
Still always wonder how he got his mole to curl like that.
I was looking at it, I'm like, that has to be like some massive tape, and it's some prosthetics, but I love that's creepy. So cool. Yeah, it is creepy cool. But that song has stuck with me through the years, especially, and then every time I hear it, I'm like, Prince!
I never knew the name of that goddamn song. Until the other day. I knew the song. Okay. I had no idea what it was called. Yeah. I loved the song. Yeah. But never knew the name of it. No. I always try to find this, something that you mentioning the songs from that movie, the Bat Dance song. It was it must have been. Yeah. Oh shit! In the 90s,
I can't even do it. But that jam right there.
That
it was
song
so unique.
is so fantastic.
It was so unique.
They used to do. That was a popular song used in cheer dance contests.
Okay. Really?
Yes.
See, you were in the club 5 years earlier than I was, because
but I mean before this,
before that,
when cheerleaders would do their competitions.
Really?
That song was used a lot.
I did not know that.
It is amazing for cheerleaders to dance to that song. It is, because you can do. It's almost like the Pour Some Sugar on Me that the strippers use. Yep. You can move fast or slow, it doesn't matter. That song is just perfect for that.
Kind of like a universal awesome beat.
Yeah, it is. And it's an exciting song, and what you can do to it is just, it all works out.
It does get you jazzed up for some reason that's almost unexplainable. You're just like, you hear it and you're like, yeah!
Couldn't disagree with that at all.
I know I've been doing that a lot through this. I've actually done that, a couple times, and I apologize to who's ever listening, but seriously, some of these songs they just lift you up, and you're like right there with them going, this is so perfect.
We're talking about these, just these few songs, but, I can't imagine people aren't doing what we've been doing, is finding songs from the past that we've heard, and his newer stuff and things we've never probably heard, and just been listening to them just to listen to them, because now things have changed. But yeah, it's amazing going back to hearing some of those things that you haven't heard in a long time, perhaps. Yeah, there's so much information, and Wikipedia is whatever Wikipedia is, but there's so much data in here that it is amazing to know and see the information about him.
He was such a unique character.
Very unique. Here's something right off the bat on the front page of it that you mentioned his birth name, Prince Rogers Nelson. Mm-hmm. He was also known as Jamie Starr, Christopher Alexander Nevermind. I actually put that together. Christopher was another name, and the other one was Alexander Nevermind. I'll say that for a third time. Alexander Nevermind. That was a name he used.
Alexander Nevermind.
The purple one. Mm-hmm. Joey Coco.
That's racist. No.
And
because
of course,
he's not really that Coco.
Right. And then his symbol that
you notice how they say it? They call it the unpronounceable symbol. And it's like, well, it's an Ankh.
It's also known as the love symbol.
That's what they call it.
Yep.
It's really a modified Ankh.
Right. Well, there's stuff to it that's off of the Ankh. So I would imagine they wouldn't want that associated, perhaps.
And, well, it's not only the Ankh, which he used for inspiration for that, but it's also the male and female symbols put together.
Yeah, it's the gender
so it's
symbols,
all three put together, and then he calls it the love symbol.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But it was the Ankh, which is the peace and prosperity symbol in Egyptian hieroglyphs.
Yeah.
And then the male and female symbol put together, too.
Cool.
And he called it the love symbol.
Oh, I like that.
And then, lastly, the artist formerly known as Prince.
I always thought that was stupid. Yeah. Actually, when he was going by the symbol, and while he was going by the artist formerly known as Prince, I'd always refer to him as Prince. I don't fucking care.
Well, everybody was going to, and you know why he did that? It was a business thing.
Oh.
because of his contract, he wanted to get out. That's why he went in public once with the word slave on his face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was something that in that deal that he just had a big problem with that he wanted to get out of.
The music industry he was pissed off with.
And it was, I read it in here and I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm not going to read this whole thing to find it again. But who he had his contract with, he had a big problem because he was releasing albums too fast and they didn't like it.
Oh boy.
They wanted him to slow that down. So he purposely did more.
Good.
So that he could lose his contract. And that legal issue with his contract was just what it was. And that's why he decided then to just up and change his name completely. So then everything he did under that name was no longer the Prince name, and they couldn't have that.
Well, that's why they did it. Now I get it. Now I get it. But I never stopped referring to him as Prince.
Nobody was ever going to.
Okay.
You know, but legally he's no longer Prince.
But every time the news did it, I was like middle fingers. Right. Every time they said, I'm like, fuck you.
Well,
idiots.
technically they had to because that's who he was.
They just sound so stupid and pompous saying it.
Right.
So yeah, it was really interesting. And I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I did read some of it. It was fascinating. And then in 2000, I'm guessing that's when it was safe for him to revert back to being known as Prince.
Prince, right. Okay. Well, he referred to himself as Prince before that happened.
Yeah. So yeah, fun stuff.
He's kind of a fucking genius when it came to that stuff.
Yeah,
like I said, I mentioned it before, but he was a genius, like business-wise.
Yeah.
So the genres that he was related to was funk, R&B, rock, pop, and new wave.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
His occupations listed as singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, record producer, actor, and film director.
Love it.
How many instruments was it? 27?
27 is the last I heard.
Crap.
And didn't, not reading music or anything, just played them.
Wow.
Never took a lesson to learn how to play those instruments.
That's somebody that just lives and breathes and feels music.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
I've always wanted to be that fucker. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I can barely play one instrument, and he played 27.
I can play the flute, and I can play it really well, and I faked it with reading music. You know, I just went by ear.
Yeah.
So I'd be playing Beethoven, and my music instructor would be sitting next to me, be like, no, that's not the right note. And I'd be like, oh. Boop. He's like, yeah, that's the one. Thinking that I'm reading the music, and I'm really not. I'm just like, wait, which one is it? Okay, it's an F sharp.
I can barely read bass music and just barely play the bass guitar.
Right.
You know?
Guitar's a little harder, though. I do have to say that.
Bass guitars. Yeah.
I mean, when, just me playing guitar is, way harder than the flute.
Right.
But to play 27 of them fluently.
Right. This is beautiful.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
I'm sure many people have seen it. And if you haven't, I encourage you to find it and watch it. His performance in the 2007 Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So there was some information on that I listened to and that I shared with Jen, so I'll share it again. There was a situation that came up when the producers got up in the morning. It was raining in Florida.
Okay.
And they had somehow communicated some information that they had obtained because they were concerned about weather, possibly. So how do we deal with the stage and the musicians and the equipment, all this fun stuff? And the communication that came back was it has never rained on the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And they got up in that morning and it was fucking typhoon raining. And the weather reports were, this is going on all damn day. Nice. And they're just like, shit.
Right. What are we going to do now?
What do we do?
Yeah.
And so eventually they, of course, got a hold of Prince and said, so, what do you think we should do here? What do you think about this? Yeah. And he's just like, I think it needs to rain harder. And they're just like, huh? What? He was just like, his attitude was like, bring this shit on, man.
Wow.
We'll take it. And some more.
Okay.
And so they're just like, okay. And so then another aspect of concern that they had was he had two dancers that came with him that were performing with him. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be doing these dances in heels, and he's in heels. And they're going to be jumping around and moving erratically on this stage that's made of this plastic that's slippery, this acrylic.
Mm-hmm.
And when it gets wet, it gets worse.
Wow.
And they're just like, oh boy.
Yeah.
what's going to happen to these girls?
Right.
And they did their thing. They never fell. He never fell. And the whole time they're just waiting for somebody to fall and break their head open or something.
Right.
And he just rocked that damn show out. No issues, no problem. Like it didn't even matter. In pouring down rain.
Look to watch that.
Just fitting.
Yeah.
Ended the songs with Purple Rain.
Love it.
In the rain.
In the rain.
And here's another cool thing about it was, and I can't remember how it came about. I'm going to watch it again just because I want to know how it came through. But they were either talking about it was scripted out on what was going to happen, and then he just went off and did it like verbatim, just winged it differently than what was scripted.
Okay.
Or they were concerned that he was going to or something. I can't remember how it came. They did mention it, but I was listening to that in a commercial from a radio show at the same time, so I didn't pick it up. So it's going to be interesting to hear that again. But
I want to rewatch it again.
Yeah. It would be exciting to know that he just said, I'm doing whatever the hell I do, and we're going with it. And be like, oh, that's awesome. That's a performer that can go out and just do shit, and they don't need it written down.
Right. Doesn't need to be perfect. The stages need to be perfect. I don't need to have my bags of ruffled potato chips.
Make sure the instrument is heard on the fucking speakers and my mic works.
Exactly.
That's what I need.
Exactly. Like he's not little like Princess, like Britney Spears or whoever.
I need 3 bowls of Jelly Bellies in my dressing room.
Just the red and black.
Right,
just the red and black. Yeah.
Just the butter popcorn. And the jalapeno.
Yeah, and 1 bag of exactly to perform. That's what you need to perform. Really, it's not inside of you. You need all those. Yeah, it's stupid.
And you actually, the funny thing is, you hear more about that kind of stuff with the performers that can't really perform, or even perform like what would you call that? Repetitively, like with the same kind of quality, which Prince always could.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You hear like Mariah Carey's like a total diva.
Right.
It's like, bitch, half the time you can't even fucking perform.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Your voice is modified anyway. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But he never needed any of that stuff. He was like very down to earth, which brings me again back to Elvis, very down to earth. Never really left his hometown.
Yeah.
Right.
Had the roots and kept them.
Yeah.
And the level-headedness of a star, and unfortunately they both died very early.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a huge loss to me.
Yeah.
I have to say that.
To me too.
Crying.
I was slightly irritated with, the friends, the acquaintances that I have now, because some of them are a little bit younger and they have no like recognition of, he hasn't done anything lately. Are you sure about that?
Right.
Right. Maybe I'm pretty sure he's probably written most of the songs of your teeny bopper Justin whatever Bieber's,
Do you listen to Lady Gaga? Do you know how much influence Prince had on her?
Right.
Just as a fashion icon.
I was highly irate on Thursday when somebody had said to me, I'm not a big fan. I don't really listen. It's like, have you been deaf for the last 20 years of your life?
Right.
Because if so, then I can give you that excuse.
But to take the benefit of the doubt here, I can understand kind of what that's like, because I know that there's friends of mine out there that when I tell them I'm not a Beatles fan,
right, they get devastated.
Or I'm not a Leonard Skinner fan, they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. So I can understand to that point.
I get it,
Yeah. But yeah, Prince was a huge, effect on us in the 80s. He was our Elvis of the 80s. I would say that.
Just going to your point about that, and I want you to finish what you're saying. I just don't want to lose this. When we talk about like not being a Beatles fan, in the same breath, when that's mentioned, though, you'll look and say, hey, I know they did great stuff. I'm not a fan of the music.
You can't take it away.
But the people you're talking about now, I'm not a fan. It's like, but no recognition for what his
not
contribution was.
Not recognizing the change of
what
the
the
music
hell?
industry.
Right. Not recognizing the amount of
the contribution. Wow.
Of talent in exactly. The contribution.
I wasn't a fan of his music, but I know the guy did some great stuff.
Right.
I mean, but none of that. It's just like, I wasn't a fan.
That's what I think is so effing mad about, is that like, okay, so maybe you weren't a fan, but can you freaking appreciate something?
Instead of just, nah, I'm not a fan.
Exactly.
Maybe you could say, I wasn't a fan, but I can understand the huge loss that it could be, because he lent a lot to the music.
Or even industry. Acknowledging, hey, I know the guy did some awesome stuff, I just wasn't a fan of
right.
Yeah.
That's a different kind of approach, but,
just nah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't, exactly. And I don't want to throw like a whole generation into that category, you know, but they are Generation
millennial
Y.
douchebags.
They're Generation Y. But okay, right, but not all Generation Yers are like that.
No,
you know, but
because our kids like Prince.
One response that I got was it from a Generation Yer.
Was he really?
Yeah, and I'm like, you know what? I'm a Generation X, and we've always questioned, why were you born? Generation Y, why were you born?
That's why they're Y. That's why it's Y.
But you know what? I'm sure a lot of our listeners are Generation Y.
Generation Y.
They're intelligent, right?
Well, yeah, but if you're Generation Y and you're listening to us, which is Generation X, then you're smarter than your fucking
average.
Yeah.
Yes.
Than your cohorts.
Co-conspicuous or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah. I was almost ready to like erase my profile on Facebook just because I was so disgusted.
I mean,
but then once the news started breaking, then people started like, you know, coming out with it, like, you know, posting pictures, you know, because all the whole scroll up and everybody's doing selfies and more selfies and duck faces and blah 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 blah. And it's like, have you looked outside your window? Do you know
anything else other than your face?
That we just lost.
Right.
You know, exactly. So I was kind of mad until.
I do have a point to say on that too. I was getting very annoyed, with Facebook the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Because of anything that took away from, like, Prince. It's like, no, do you understand what kind of tragic loss we have just gotten?
Right.
So anybody else was like, oh, look at my fucking bushes.
Yeah.
Really?
Look, my child's doing a dance.
Right, my kid's sticking their finger up a nose, and that's so cute. No, it's not. Prince is dead.
Right. Are you fucking serious right now?
And I realize that that's my problem.
Right.
I was like, I can't, you know, expect everybody to be in the same state that I'm in.
Right.
I'm just like, no, we have to mourn Prince.
What you just posted is completely unimportant. Do you realize Prince just died?
Right.
You know? Yeah.
That should be one of the posts underneath that. This is very inappropriate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you realize Prince died?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. No more posts like this.
For the next 2 weeks
wouldn't even,
or more.
I wouldn't even, like, I wanted to, but I wouldn't even post that my fingers and my toenails are all purple because of Prince. I got mood color purple on my hands, 2 different tones, and they're both mood color, and it's all purple.
And then you got dark purple.
I got dark purple on the toes with a little diamond, and I wish they would have had like a little fake pearl.
Yeah,
that would have been perfect. Yeah, exactly. And I wanted to post it, but I was like, nope, I'm not taking away from it.
Right.
I'm not saying, look at me, I'm mourning Prince's death.
Yeah.
That's retarded.
Yeah. Well, I think that one of the biggest things that is a huge tribute that I'm glad that Minnesota is doing is that First Avenue this weekend is holding a free concert for him, you know, all through Sunday. You know, it's now Saturday, so people hurry up and get down there. Well, I'm sure by the time we post this,
they've been having it. Like the first night they had the news,
Yeah.
Thursday night they had a concert on the streets.
Right, and that's just awesome because really Prince put First Avenue on the map of any nightclub out there.
Pretty much. That was a very symbiotic relationship there as he got big and they got big.
Right.
And it was.
And they owed him everything. So it's like, I know somebody had said, well, why would they hold it free? Well, why not? Because he contributed so much of his life and like he gave them, kind of opened the doors for them and probably provided a lot of their business to begin with.
Well, they were both first starting out.
Yeah.
First Avenue was a new nightclub and Prince was a new artist.
Yeah.
And Prince got huge and continued to play there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they both, like I said, it's a symbiotic relationship, but Prince got so big and continued to play there that First Avenue got big.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, that is the place for music. So people would go there, which was amazing.
Yeah. So I think it's awesome that they're holding like a free dance party for him all weekend long. I kind of want to stop down there tomorrow.
Okay.
I don't know if that's going to happen, but I would like to at least like drive by and see.
Oh, you're going to go there instead of the Horse Expo with me.
Jen, Prince just died.
Oh, fuck you.
I don't know. It was a thought in my head. I've been wanting to go down there.
But it wasn't just First Avenue. If you notice, we had a lot of like monuments in Minnesota.
Oh, yeah, 35W
Bridge was lit up as purple.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was doing purple.
The IDS was purple. All the buildings that have lights on them are all purple.
All the sports
IDS?
team.
Yep, the IDS was purple.
But you get like the like Twins and the Wild and everything changed like their colors to purple for a while. Yes. Yeah,
hey, I bet the Vikings are going to be purple this year.
Probably.
And see, purple's my thing, so it's very easy for me to just wear purple
Yeah.
because I wear purple every day.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Well, something I was reading ahead of you as you're chatting here. Prince's personal life. Here's some tidbits that might surprise you a little bit here. Well, they already had an update that he resided near Minneapolis at the time of his death. Over the years, Prince was romantically linked with many celebrities,
Okay.
including Kim Basinger, Madonna, Vanity, Sheila E., Carmen Electra, Susanna Hoffs, Anna Fantastic, whoever that is.
I don't know what
Yeah, it sounds fabulous.
Sherilyn Fenn,
Oh,
and Suzanne Monsey of Vanity 6 and Apollonia 6. He was engaged to Suzanne Milvoin in 1985. He married at age 37 his 22-year-old backup singer and dancer, Maite Garcia, on Valentine's Day in 1996. They had a son named Boy Gregory on October 16th, 96, who was born with Pfeiffer syndrome and died a week later.
oh,
Wow.
Divorced in 1999.
yeah. That'll take everything out of a marriage.
In 2001, he married Manuela Tostellini
Oh, you
in a
like
private ceremony.
Latin chicks?
Right.
Don't skip it.
She filed for her divorce May 2006.
Oh.
Yeah, but he started off like horribly with
Mhm.
Kim Basinger.
Right.
That was a really bad decision,
Yeah.
and then seems to have moved up from there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just had to mention that because Kim Basinger is a fucking idiot.
So he joined Jehovah's Witness in 2001.
Oh, that's right. He was. So that was confirmed. He was a Jehovah's
He
Witness.
was, yep. Let's see. Following a 2-year-long debate with a friend and a fellow Jehovah's Witness musician, Larry Graham. Let's see what it says here that
Who?
he did. Yeah. He did not consider it a conversation, but a realization. It's like Morpheus and Neo in the Matrix, he explained. He attended
cool.
meetings at a local Kingdom Hall and occasionally knocked on people's door to discuss his faith.
Wow.
If he knocked on my door,
I would
I'd
have
just be
listened
like,
to him.
Right.
"Come on in.
Right.
Like,
whatever
I will
your
fucking
meeting-
convert."
Come on in here. You can talk your shit. I'm not going to listen. I'm just
Would
gonna
you
listen
like
to
to
you
live
talk
here?
Right.
Sing me a song, motherfucker.
Can you sing what you're saying? Just
Right.
So reportedly, he needed double hip replacement surgery in 2005,
Oh,
but would not
wow.
undergo the operation unless it was a bloodless surgery because of being a Jehovah's Witness.
Okay.
Because they don't accept blood transfusions.
Okay.
The condition was rumored to be aggravated by repeated onstage dancing in high-heeled boots.
Oh, wow.
He was a vegetarian. You mentioned that.
Yeah, confirmed vegetarian.
Yep.
Vegan.
vegan.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, it says vegetarian, so
Yeah.
to what degree?
he might have become a vegan later on, which is what you read. Because
Right,
that's
right.
like the step up, vegan.
They can eat fish then, right? And eggs?
No,
If you're vegan?
No, vegan is purely nothing. Vegetarian is fish and eggs.
Oh.
Vegan is like you won't even eat cheese that's made from cows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any animal.
Okay.
No animal
animal
product.
products
Wow.
whatsoever.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. They get like protein from like kale, spinach, whatever,
Okay.
Well, there's some bullshit in here from Sinead O'Connor I'm not going to read because who knows.
No.
Well, she just claimed he was,
Wrong.
because apparently they had a relationship
Oh.
and she makes some not so positive commentary about it. So
Well, fuck her.
Right.
I'm going to pass her bullshit on. So filmography, we all know Purple Rain,
Mm-hmm.
Under the Cherry Moon. I didn't even know it was a fucking movie.
Mm-mm.
Sign of the Times and Graffiti Bridge.
I think we know the next 3 movies we are gonna look up.
Right.
I don't know if I want to.
I don't
Why
care.
not?
We're doing it.
I don't know.
Eric, I don't give a
Just
shit.
do it.
I don't care about how much you don't want to do that. We're going to do this.
You might end up liking one.
In the
of
name
those.
of Prince.
No.
Right.
Television roles, The Muppets Tonight and New Girl.
He was in New Girl?
Yeah.
Where was he in New Girl? You're a fan of that show.
I know.
2014, he played himself in an episode called Prince.
In New Girl?
Oh. I need
Because
to
you
watch
haven't
it.
watched it since
I
2013.
haven't. I need to catch up.
I need to catch up too. I like Zoe
Yes.
Deschanel, so
Yeah.
let's watch that one.
All right.
And there's tons of tours on here that it's mentioned. And then the reference pages last like 9 pages long, so
I'm sure.
a
He was
lot
just
of information.
So active.
Yeah.
So active
Yeah.
everywhere, and we didn't even know it.
Oh yeah, there's a list of his concerts and shit that he did in here too that I didn't go through, but tons of, you want to go through that and mention some stuff you find in there, that's fine. But a couple of the things that I did print off was his discography, his albums, and his singles. Because I gotta be honest, when he started getting what I call a little wacky with his stuff, I didn't care for it much. There was a song here and there, I don't mind that, I don't mind that, but I didn't pay much attention anymore. So after the Purple Rain, it was kind of hit and miss for me.
What was the guy, we watched an interview the other day, and the guy played Silent Bob. Something Smith.
Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith.
Yep.
Watching him, if you guys have not seen this, anybody that's listening, go out to YouTube and look up this Kevin Smith talking about Prince.
Yeah.
It's a 30-minute long spew from a question in an audience.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a Henry Rollins thing. Like, the dude's just talking about it, but the way that he's talking about it is, like, really funny. It's almost hilarious. Like a stand-up act.
Yeah.
And to watch him and hear what he says, I mean, that was extremely entertaining. Like you said, you started watching it and you were considering turning it off, but you can't turn it off.
Right.
Because you just have to keep watching. And then at the end, you're just like, oh my God, that was the greatest story ever.
Yeah. Well, Kevin Smith is a writer and a producer of the Jay and Silent Bob films, and he is actually Silent Bob himself.
Yes.
You know, but yeah,
which I did
he's
not know.
He's highly entertaining, you know.
He's extremely entertaining. And what he was saying in part of that interview is that Prince, like, one of the producers of, or maybe managers of Prince, a handler, let's just call him that, I don't know what it was, came up to him and they're like, do you know, like, how much stuff that Prince, like, has done that will never see the light of day?
That was a producer.
His
name's Stephanie.
Okay. So he will just go in there and, like, record. He'll call his, band up at, like, 2 a.m. and say, get over here, I want to record.
Yeah.
And everybody's just got to do it, because he's fucking Prince.
That's awesome.
That's what, because he's fucking Prince.
Right.
So everybody just goes over there and does it,
Yeah.
and, they might be recording for, like, 42 hours or whatever, record an entire album, he'd be like, oh, I don't like it, and just fucking hits delete.
Oh, God.
Gone.
Oh, my God.
Gone. And that's just how he was.
Everyone's like, I'm gonna kill that motherfucker. Yeah. Oh, my God.
So all of this stuff that he did actually record, after hearing that, I'm like, how did that come about? That's crazy.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, like one of every 5 got recorded.
Right.
So
or made it to the, got cut, like made it to the tape.
Yeah.
One of the things that related to what you're talking about that Kevin Smith was relaying was he had asked him to do a documentary about this new album he was doing. And it was in the month of June, and I remember the year, around Father's Day, and they were recording, videotaping at Paisley Park, for a week. So he would, have people come and do what he called, these album parties or something to that effect.
Yeah. People
come and listen to the album and then talk about it.
Okay.
And, if you didn't know this, I didn't know this, Paisley Park, every room is wired for sound. So he can record in any room in that place. And he made a joke about that he could do it while taking a shit. Nice. Because the bathroom is too.
Right. Well, I mean, a genius of his caliber, it's like suddenly you just hear these lyrics in your head and you just gotta sing them all. Because otherwise you'll forget them 10 minutes later.
So this atrium, wired for sound, Prince is listening to the conversation going on, and so he's having people go tell him to stop talking about this and whatnot, and he's like, tell him to get his ass down here and do it himself, not knowing Prince hears this. And awesome. Lo and behold, Prince appears, and he joins in the conversation, and all, went well. But one of the things about that entire documentary, I don't want to tell the whole story, but in the end of it all, he had asked him, who's gonna cut this? And they're like, oh, some of it's been cut already. He used some of it just the other night at his concert at the Excel, and he's like, oh, what? Really? Okay. He had no idea somebody was cutting this shit already, that they were just recording and filming, and okay. And he's like, all right, well, when will it be done? He was, and the lady, she's like, oh, you'll never see this. And he's like, what? She's like, oh yeah. He'll just put it in the vault. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah, that's what he does. I've produced I'll say this much of the story. She produced what she claimed, 50 music videos, that were fully expensive produced, sets built,
Like basically
people
done,
paid
done
like
videos.
full videos.
Ready to go on MTV videos.
And he's like,
Done,
X-nated.
locked in the vault.
Wow.
Yep.
Nobody's ever saw him. No, the song, you've never heard the song.
That's cool.
I really hope
that's
they
what he
open
does.
that vault.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure.
I really hope they do.
But that's what he does.
Well, can we also talk about the giraffe thing? About the
giraffe.
Do you remember that? Or camel, that's what it was.
Yeah, she was you want to tell, or you want me to tell?
You tell it, because I
Okay.
don't remember all of it, but it was fucking hysterical.
When he had asked him to do the documentary, and he left, and he told the producers, like, I can't fucking do this.
I've never done a documentary.
Right, I make fart joke films. I don't know what a document. I can't do this. And so he didn't want to do it. He's like, would you just tell him? And she's like, well, you do me a big favor. You go tell him. And he's like, all right, fuck it, I don't care.
Right.
And he went and told him, and he's just like, no, you'll do fine. It'll be great. And he's just like, oh, okay. You know?
Right.
And he comes back out, and he's talking to the Stephanie, and he's just like, I don't do a documentary because the documentary is done by somebody who has the idea.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the crew. He's got the idea. He should be behind the camera doing this.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. She goes, well, you have to understand, Prince has been living in Prince world for a very long time.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the fuck does that mean? And he's like, well, sometimes he'll just say stuff, and he just doesn't process things like you and I do, and it makes sense to him, but we don't get it. He doesn't get it.
Yeah.
So like he'll say, it's 3:00 in Minnesota, and I want a camel. And we're just like,
middle of winter.
Middle of winter, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And so he's like, and we're just like, no, what?
Possible.
It's not mentally comprehensible. Right. It's not physically possible.
He's just like, why?
He's just like, what? He's like, what do you mean? And when you tell him no, he can't understand why you can't fulfill a simple request. Okay. He doesn't get it like, it's 3:00 in the fucking morning. Right. It's winter in Minnesota, and you don't need a goddamn camel.
Right.
So he just doesn't
it's like,
get that.
I have more money than God. What do you mean you can't do this?
So with all of that, when you look at him and say, I can't do this, I don't try, you'll be fine. He just doesn't get why you have a problem with that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't process that way.
Like
so
it.
telling
it
him
would be
no,
psychologically detrimental and physically detrimental to the animal, and you don't need one.
Right.
What?
Just get the goddamn camel. It's just that's what his thought process is just like that. Yeah. So and he talked about his band members. He would call them up at 2:45 in the morning. They're home sleeping. Get over here, I want to record. Okay. And they show up and they're fucking recording for 3-4 days in Paisley Park, and they never leave.
Right.
And catered food, stuff like that. People take naps, whatever. But that's just how he operated. Mm-hmm. It was fascinating. They talked about when Jen mentioned the delete thing. They talked about where he went in and cut an entire album, played every instrument for the entire album, got it all done, and goes, I don't like it. Deleted the whole fucking thing.
The file. So it's gone forever.
Never heard by anybody.
Right.
Completed it.
It's funny because the more I hear about him and how he operated and kind of like, that level of, I don't want to call it insanity.
Genius.
Passion. Let's call it passion. Genius.
Because of the thing that it wasn't drug induced, it wasn't any alcohol induced, it was just musically inspired.
And that's what I'm saying is the more I hear about it and how musically talented he was about not taking lessons and playing 27 instruments, I kind of wonder if he was like a very high functioning autistic.
Okay.
He
may have had autism to a genius point because that's just how their brains work.
Yeah.
Something in there, if I have to get it right now, I know this, but he was born with
You're right.
A seizure disorder. I can't remember the name. It's a pretty common seizure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, seizure.
You used to have seizures.
Mm-hmm.
Epilepsy.
That's
actually pretty common in autism.
So he was born with
right.
epilepsy, and he used to have seizures as a child, and they suspect that he grew out of it. And there was something that I read in there, actually, was really it just struck me in memory, that he came to his mother, I don't know, about 8 years old or something like that, and said, I'm not going to be sick anymore.
Oh.
Yeah.
And she's just like, why? Well, an angel told me.
Yeah. Oh. And he never had an episode after that.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, okay.
That's
all right.
cool.
Well, hey, whatever happens, I guess.
Right.
I can't go with the, hey, it must be an angel thing. I have no idea, but.
We can.
You can relate to that. I just can't. It's just
or
like
I'm talking about if he was actually autistic and just a very high functioning, which is genius level thought processes. You know,
probably found his niche.
Yep.
Niche. I said
niche. No, niche is right. I said niche. I don't know why.
She's like, I'm going to correct you.
I'm going to correct you even though I'm wrong.
Right.
But when you see him in interviews,
and that's maybe where he found his angel was like. My angel is music.
He could have been.
You know?
You see him in interviews, though, and he can communicate very well.
Oh,
I wouldn't see autism. Not that you have to see it, I guess.
I have a buddy that I think is a high-functioning autistic person, and he can communicate very well.
Oh,
it's just, it's the level of the brain function that's happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
The guy is a fucking genius.
Yeah.
Like, beyond... like somebody that I would consider like very smart and beyond like the, you can do an IQ test or whatever. I don't care. I would put this guy like up against Stephen Hawking.
Okay.
And I would think that my buddy Seth could probably outthink this guy. So,
but yeah, you're right.
With music, I mean, that may have been Prince's thing.
Yeah. And Prince spoke very eloquently.
Right.
He never sounded like stupid. He never sounded like, you know. Like,
well, and I know that's what people think is like, people think of autism and they think of like retarded.
Well, not even that.
And
he didn't sound like he was missing any
had difficulties.
Exactly. Or even that, or even like street slang. He spoke very eloquently.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is that, and I use the street term retarded, which I know is like PC, it's not okay.
We're not PC on this show.
We're not. But I did not see him, you know, and there are autistic people who are just highly functionable that are not in that realm where you would think that they're, you know, have some kind of deficiency. They're just so, I mean, above and beyond that you're like, holy shit. But what we're realizing, like with the new scientific studies and everything, is that that is a high level functioning autism.
Okay.
Because they're fucking brilliant.
Right.
Autistic people are not stupid.
Right.
Which is what people used to think.
Right.
You know, just because they can't get one thing out because their brain is so heavily functioned somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
And that's what the high level means, is the high level means that they're not really inhibited in any way. It's just their brain is so...
It thinks differently.
Right.
I guess I wouldn't look at an autistic person as being problematic or having difficulties in being problematic that way in operating, but you could typically tell that something's just off with them.
That's in the expression though, but if they don't have a problem in the expression, you can't tell.
Right. Oh, and that's what I guess that's what I'm trying to communicate for people to understand, that if that was the case with this man, you would have never known because he seemed just like anybody else. I've worked with a guy that had Asperger's.
Guy at the Mermaid, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, not at the Mermaid.
Sweet.
In another state at a different place. And you could tell that something just wasn't right with this guy. I mean, he taught classes. But his humor was a little weird.
Okay.
And people thought he was nuts. But they didn't know. Otherwise, they would have probably just, that's just him.
Well, everybody thinks my buddy's a stoner, and he's not.
Okay.
He's fucking brilliant.
Okay.
And see, that's what I mean. So he's got this characteristic that people relate to something that just seems a little different. That's what I'm trying to say.
To sit there and tell Prince that we can't get you a camel, he's like, why not? That would be the same feeling, I would think.
And but what I'm saying is that we wouldn't have conversations like that, so we wouldn't know that about him. So just seeing him in his performance and in an interview, you don't get that out of him. So it's tough to understand. Maybe that is the situation, maybe it isn't. Because if I was sitting with him having a conversation, he's like, you guys have camels here, right? I would be like, what the fuck is that? And I would be like, maybe there's something, but it wasn't like that. Maybe at Paisley Park, if you're like, hey, how you doing? You'd be like, hi. I mean, that would be like, I would just be like, maybe there's something going on that is of a level that I don't get.
Right. He had no indications
but nothing
of
like
that.
that. So.
Right. So
and he did kind of avoid like having to sign autographs and You know, he was
Yeah.
private like that. Once his performance was
Very
done, he
private.
was like, I'm done.
Right.
You
And that
know?
may be wise, why he kind of stayed out of the public
Right.
eye.
It's a total
Right.
speculation.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Could
Yeah.
be.
Well,
I mean,
I mean-
it seems legitimate as a possibility. So
Mhm.
Well, I mean, like the high level autism thing that we were talking about is, do you remember the guy at the Mermaid that we worked with? The bigger guy, he had glasses, very super smart. Like his intelligence was like 180 or something like that IQ. He would crack people's necks. Kind of a bigger guy.
not
Was he a
that I know.
bartender?
Nope, he was a bouncer.
Oh, don't remember.
Don't
you
know.
should. How do you
Don't-
not know?
I don't remember his name, but I just remember him would always like
How
crack
do I
people's
not?
necks.
I'll ask you a quick question. How do I not know? It was a guy.
Right,
Yeah, I don't know.
but that
You
worked
don't
with.
remember the guys that you worked with.
It was
No.
like Peter or Pete or
No clue.
Okay, well he had like
And he was
high...
a fucking bouncer. He doesn't even know any of their names.
right. He only worked
Your
Wasn't-
bouncer
with all
team.
of
Wasn't
them.
looking for the bouncers.
No, nice. But
I had
no,
other stuff
like
going on.
he was kind of like off-putting. You'd sit with him like after work, and he kind of would like make these like comments, and he didn't really have many friends,
Mm-hmm.
but he was very nice. And people would like basically like, "Hey, dude, will you crack my neck real quick on my bag?" And he would just go done. Like that's all it takes. You know, he did it to my neck a couple times. I was kind of terrified.
That explains a lot.
Nice. But I mean, like he was extremely intelligent.
Mhm.
Like his intelligence level was like beyond the norm.
See, those are the people that I look at, and I'm like, I
Mhm.
want to be friends with that
Yeah,
person.
but he was very awkward and bigger guy, very dorky.
Yep.
But you would have a conversation with him, and you're kind of like, dude, you're like way out of my realm. I don't even know what you're talking about right now, but you're very interesting, so I'm going to listen to you anyways. You know, and still never understood to this day why he was a bouncer at the Mermaid. Like what? Who are you?
Something
They
to
were
do.
fun.
Huh?
Something to do.
Some dude.
Right.
So I did it. Something to do.
Yeah.
He needed something dumb to balance all the genius that was just flowing out of him.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
Yeah, or something.
He was trying to
God.
dumb it down a bit.
Yeah, I wish I could remember his name. He was a nice guy.
So one of the reasons why
let's
we
not
started
go through
this,
all of the.
We're not going to go through
Okay,
all
because
of them.
that's a
No.
lot.
One thing that I do want to do is, I mean, everybody knows Purple Rain,
Of course.
and when that was
Absolutely.
out, that came out in 1984.
Yeah.
Many people probably know the album previous, which is 1999, came out in 82.
Pussy Control.
I don't know if that was on 99.
That sounds
I was only
like
6 when Purple Rain came out. I just calculated it.
Yeah.
Now, there was an album before that there were some songs on it that I am going to really try to find, because there was a few songs that were just awesome, and I don't know the names of them.
Mhm.
And this kid in my neighborhood used to play it all the time, and it was so vile that when this part came up talking about some stuff that was really vile and vulgar, he would run to his radio and turn it down because
He didn't want
parents
his mom to
would
hear
hear
it.
it.
That's what he heard.
and he didn't want to get in
And
trouble.
you don't remember the song?
And I don't know the name of the
And
song.
it wasn't Pussy Control?
No, it was not Pussy Control.
Well, I suppose that entire song is pretty much a swear word.
Yeah, this one, it
Yeah.
was, the song was, it had a,
Was it Sexy Motherfucker?
not even that. That was way after that. But but those albums prior to there, those two, what I would call more mainstream ones, he had 4 released albums prior to that, starting in 78, which was For You, 79, which was called Prince, 80 called Dirty Mind, and 81 called Controversy.
Okay.
And then 99 came out. My dad actually bought that cassette tape. He liked Prince's stuff at that time.
Wow.
Was that the
1999,
1990?
yeah. And the Red
Yeah.
Corvette song, he really...
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
But then the
It's a
Purple
good
Rain
song.
came out, and then
Ah.
yeah,
So
that was
Purple
off
Rain
there.
was created in 86, you said, but it didn't come out until
84.
84. Sorry, 84.
It was released
That
in
was
84.
6.
Yeah.
That's right.
That song still brings me to tears.
Purple
Like,
Rain.
Yeah, well, you remember
It's
we
so
went
passionate.
we went to New Year's Bash at Medina Ballroom.
Oh, yeah, you were
And
totally...
Bawling.
But you were emotionally...
I still, even when I hear the song
vulnerable.
now, I still bawl about it. You know,
Okay.
it was such a beautiful song.
I started tearing up the other night when we were watching Purple Rain.
Okay.
Because we were
Yeah.
prepping for this.
Yeah.
And so we watched it, and I was tearing up.
Yeah. Yep. It was
And I couldn't show
absolute-
Eric because he always makes fun of me.
Right. He's like, stop.
He looks at me, he's like, are you
bitch."
fucking crying? So I'm just like this, like my eyes get bigger. I open my eyes super wide and they're all like welled up.
Just
So
leaking.
before he looks at me, I
leaking
actually
water.
pull my eyelids down to try to get the
Drain 'em.
moisture underneath my, I don't know like psychologically. I don't understand how that would actually work, but that's what I do.
Right.
And he looks at me and I'm like blinking, like, "Hey, how's it going?" Just so he doesn't make fun of me.
No,
Well,
that song was just beautiful.
That is
Absolutely
very,
beautiful.
that's interesting though, that Purple Rain song, that we've all got something about it. What I remember, that's probably one of the songs that I have the strongest memories to.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason being is I don't know if it was that year that it came out or the following year. My uncle died.
Okay.
And when we left the funeral home to take him to the burial site, we were stuffed. There were so many people in this celebrity station wagon. I don't know why we just didn't get another fucking car to drive.
Because you got a station wagon, so
Yeah,
people can pile
well,
You fit 70 people
Yeah,
in
so
there. You know.
not a celebrity station wagon. That's when the cars started getting smaller.
Oh boy.
It wasn't
Yes.
the huge
No, it was the
station
half one, the one that I had. You remember the one that wouldn't turn right?
Ew.
Yeah, wouldn't turn left.
With the
Sorry.
hatchback?
No, not it
No,
was
not a
station
hatch.
wagon.
It was a station
Okay.
wagon, but they're really small.
Okay.
The smaller ones, yeah. So you could get 3 in the front, 3 in the middle, and the back 2 barely.
Maybe. Like
Versus
with your
the other
legs
station
crunched up
wagons.
and you're pressed against the glass.
Yeah.
Right. The other station wagons years prior,
Like
you get
12
4,
people.
4, and 4.
Right,
You know,
right.
they were huge.
Mm-hmm.
But this thing was tiny.
That's
So
a
that
celebrity.
we
Yeah.
had 4 in the back seat, 4 in the front seat, and 3 all the way in the very back.
boy.
And
Ooh, that was
the
cramped.
4 in the very front seat was my dad driving, my mom over here, my aunt, and me on her lap.
Okay.
Oh, it was a good time.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So
Julie!
I don't know why this set up the way that it was, but I had the Purple Rain cassette in the stereo, in the radio,
Yeah.
and
Was it yours?
I don't know whose it was.
Okay.
Probably
Could have been
his
my
dad's.
dad's.
Right.
Could have been
I mean,
mine.
you-
Could have been mine.
So it was
that
just
had been
there.
but it was in the tape deck. And so we're leaving, following the limo, and I say, "Hey, can I put the tape in?" He's like, "Yeah, put it in." And Purple Rain was the song that played.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so we listened at the whole way, and it was just such this fitting song with the emotion that was going on in the song with what was going on at the time.
Yeah.
And it was always there. When my grandfather died years later, I intentionally played that song when we left the church to go bury him too.
Oh, that's cool.
It was like,
Aw.
it just seemed like the right
Yeah.
funeral driving song. I
Right,
don't know
Right.
why.
No.
But so that's the tie to that song that I have.
Mhm.
And it's just unique that both of you have a tie to that as well.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a very popular one that people have ties to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I would hope that it is because he sang that song with passion every time he sang it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, in order to get that, when he gets to that high point where he's like just belting it out, he's not necessarily screaming. It's not just like a screeching, screaming kind of thing, but he's putting everything he's got into that purple rain,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that he puts everything in, and I apologize to the audience for my very poor rendition of it, but I mean, he just, when you hear that, you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
God, you just feel it in your bones.
Mhm.
Just the music to that song is incredible.
It is incredible,
I've always liked the music to that song.
Yeah.
We were watching the movie last night, and I told Jen this, when he flips out and then he goes and he's listening to it and he plays it then on the piano. I've always wanted to be able to play that song on the piano.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to look for a score of it to learn it.
Mhm.
Could never find
Why
one.
don't you just do it by ear? You're great at that.
I don't know. It might take a while.
Yeah.
He's actually really good at just like ear and playing it on the piano.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, you were doing what, Bocelli? Is that what it is? Or
yeah,
Botticelli?
I forget his name. Botticelli.
Botticelli?
Yeah. And, Sarah Brightman and Andrea Botticelli.
Okay. Yeah. that
Yeah.
sounds
Andre?
right.
Andre Botticelli.
Yeah.
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 Could be
I
Andrea.
just remember that song, like dancing. Jenny, I want to hear your rendition of it. You know, why it kind of touches you is that one of the things that Purple Rain touches me is like, you know, like I said, it's always been a good song, and I've
Mhm.
always loved it. Every
Mhm.
time I hear it on the radio, I'm like, yes, turn it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the thing that touched me the hardest is, you know, that year that we went and saw your two friends play at the Dinah Ballroom. And at the time, I was fighting with my boyfriend.
Mhm.
What's new? So, and like, so I'm there by myself as the fifth wheel. to you and Eric and, my mom and Bob and,
Not Silent Bob.
no, not Silent Bob, not Kevin Smith. No. But, like they have these beautiful, like, purple spotlights on the crowd and, the twirling lights and the ballroom dancing and, everybody's on the dance floor.
Because it was hairball, and they dress up as the
singers,
person,
right.
the singer that the band that they're portraying.
Right. It was beautiful. I really wasn't even paying attention to the band. I was just paying attention to the music and the crowd. And all these couples are dancing on the floor, and you guys were dancing like a couple feet away from me, not even on the dance floor. Mama Bob, they're a couple feet away.
We make our own fucking floor.
Right, exactly. It was just
you can't get on the dance floor anyway. They're in the Medina ballroom because everybody's stupid. And they just stare there with open mouths and beers.
Yeah.
What people are playing, so you can't even get on the dance floor.
Except for like during this song. I think probably
I didn't even notice that. I think
like everybody coupled up with each other.
That's nice.
And I'm like
probably didn't even know each other.
Right. Just turn to your neighbor and just start dancing.
Weirdo hooks up with weirdo. Let's just dance with open mouths and beers. Yeah.
But anyway, I started like just bawling right.
I remember that.
Table.
I felt bad.
And some guy was like 2 tables away from me, and he's like, "Why are you so sad?" I'm like, "Just fuck off right now." Yeah. Do you want to? Right? He's like, "Do you want to dance?" I'm like, "No, just leave me alone."
I don't wanna.
Right? I don't want to do nothing. Don't look at me. Yeah, it was just.
I got a fat lip.
Right. I got a fat whip.
I know, and I think I turned to you and I was like, "Come here,
come
dance with us." And she's like, "No,
I'm not gonna ruin that."
I'm
moment.
like, I don't want you to hate this beautiful song.
It made me actually love it even more.
Okay.
Even though it was like heartbroken because of my boyfriend at the time was a D-bag.
And she didn't know it.
Right.
But now, yeah, he's a D-bag.
Yeah. But it was just a beautiful moment, even though it was sad. It was just that song still touches me when I hear it, and I kind of thought, well tough.
I think that song touched a lot of people. We'd really love to see, like, people, if they're commenting, on our video. Yeah. On our vlog or whatever.
Post your moments of
This isn't a vlog. It's not a blog. Sorry.
Right.
It's not video.
What are your moments of Purple Rain?
Like if you remember a specific song, I'd love to see that.
Absolutely. What was yours, Jenny? What made you touch Purple Rain?
Purple Rain?
Yeah.
I remember we were driving in the car with Dad, and I don't know, it was kind of like the awakening where all of a sudden I realized something about music.
Okay.
And we were just driving, I think we were in Lexington going up to Larkender.
Okay.
From Dale.
Yep.
Right? Como. And I was St. Paul. It was St. Paul people. And I don't know, all of a sudden it came on, and I started to sing with it.
Yeah.
And everybody all of a sudden started singing.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, yeah, this is a fucking cool song, man.
That's
Everybody's
cool.
singing. And like, nobody's judging or anything. We were just singing our hearts out, just crazy. And cool. That I just remember that, and it makes me feel happy.
Right.
When I hear it.
Yeah. Love it.
Because of that. I actually got pissed off at Facebook though, the other day.
Why?
Well, because they had this thing like, what Prince song was written for you? It's a stupid quiz.
I hate those stupid quizzes.
And I just took it for the hell of it, because I was like, well, I don't know, I'm bored. So I took it. And they said, when doves cry. I'm like, no.
No, you're wrong.
You're
fucking wrong.
Right.
It should be, what is it, Nikki or Little Nikki? I can't remember what the sexual song that I love so much.
Yeah.
Computer Blue. That's awesome. Moving past those.
Sorry, we went way beyond your list there.
No, not at all. I didn't mind that at all. The other albums that I even recognize is Batman in 1989, and keep in mind there's a few before that. And then I heard of Graffiti Bridge. I am assuming I've heard some songs from there, but I have no idea.
I never watched that. I didn't even know it was a movie.
No, I didn't either. Diamonds and Pearls, I know there's a couple songs there that I've heard that I like. Past that, Emancipation, I heard of that album. I don't know if I've heard any songs on it. I probably have. Past that, Emancipation, gosh, what year was that one now? 1996. And moving up from that.
We're just talking about albums right now. Like,
Yep.
you know how I am with albums. I mean, I'm literally like, what was it? ZZ Top?
Right.
Right. My lyrics to ZZ Top was slippin', slappin', sleepin' A. So you're talking in a totally different.
Right. That was a song.
That was
of
a
ZZ
song.
Top.
And now you're talking about albums that have
yeah.
encompassed like a bunch of songs. Without the songs,
So
I don't
now,
know what you're talking about.
I'm just going through them, and just me going through recognizing what I see. I'm going to let you guys read in case you've heard of the albums that are listed.
I'm not going to hear of any of them.
I have now hit 2008 and into the category of remix albums, and I haven't heard any more of them. And there's a couple of pages of albums that, I'm sorry. That was a live album. 2015 had 2 of them in there, and then the live albums, I didn't hear any of those. And the remix albums, now I'm paging through here, and no, I don't recognize any more of these at all.
Slippin', slappin', sleepin' A.
I do want to say this one album though, only because it's an album, and so nobody can get mad at me. Gold Nigga.
Nice.
That's
the name of the album.
That's the only reason why to say it. Not that he knows any of the songs from it.
I don't know it. I wanted to read it though. I didn't even know it was a fucking album, so it's kind of funny.
The Gold Experience.
Oh yeah, it's a good
but
album.
The problem is that I went on Amazon to get it, and it's $102.
I'm sure now.
I was like, what the fuck?
It was probably $17 last week.
Right.
Yes.
You know,
I was so mad because that has Pussy Control.
Yeah.
And I just have to say, I have very good feelings about
Yes.
that song because
Fun.
that was active when
Song.
you and I, Cheryl,
Yeah.
were in the clubs together.
Yeah.
And we would always dance. You, me, and Sheila.
Yep. On
would
the bar.
always dance.
On top of the bar.
On top of the bar.
Yep.
And whatever else craziness that we were doing right there to Pussy Control.
Right.
We were fucking 3 hot bitches
Mm-hmm.
dancing to Pussy Control, and all the guys in the club would be like, I want to dance with that bitch.
Right.
Right.
So-
Because I take over this bar and I got heels on and I'm dancing on the bar.
Damn right.
So as you're going through there, Cheryl, just name me the album titles that you recognize.
Okay.
So
Man.
I named the ones that I knew, and I did point out the ones that people probably knew, the 1999 and the
Yeah.
Purple
Rain.
Slippin', slappin', sleepin' A. Sorry.
Right.
It's slip inside my sleeping bag in case anybody does not know what I'm referring to.
Right.
with
Jenny
the
got
ZZ
this-
Top thing. But that's what I thought it was for years. Slippin', slappin', sleepin' A.
Yeah. Well, I remember Batman
Yep.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
with the Black Album, the Gold Experience.
The
Yeah.
Black Album, I don't even know what that is. Or the
Yeah.
Gold Experience.
I even kind of sort of remember Chaos and Disaster. I would have to look up why.
So now you're saying Pussy Control is on the Gold Experience album.
Yes. Yep.
See,
I don't know what else it's on.
Musicology. That sounds very familiar.
I've heard that song, but I don't know what album it's from. The
Gold
Pussy Control.
Experience.
That's what you're talking
Yeah.
foreign to me when you start going
Mhm.
albums because I don't even know what songs are saying.
Right.
My brain just doesn't work in lyrics.
Did you ever
Man.
go to the record store and look at our records?
Yeah, but I don't know any of the fucking titles because all my brain knows is like fucking
The
beats.
songs. Yeah.
I know the beats and I know like sounds of the lyrics, but I don't actually know the lyrics. Slippin', slappin', sleepin' A.
I recognize the B-side hits.
I remember that one.
Mm-hmm.
I actually
don't know
remember
why.
that
I'd have to look up why.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. I have to look up the songs because I
have to
don't
see
really
songs,
recognize the albums because I only liked probably here and there, songs from certain albums which were released on the radio. Man, it's still just going through that many pages of albums. You're like,
Those are just the
damn,
albums.
Those are albums.
I'm gonna let Jen go
with
through
like
and
10
she
or
can take a
20
look
different
at, too.
songs on those albums.
I'm not
Like,
gonna know any of this shit
Well,
because
just take a peek anyway.
but my brain does not work in these in
we can
album
just stop at
titles.
the word your brain doesn't work.
Okay. Let's just, yeah. Dirty Mind Controversy, 1999, Purple Rain.
Dirty Mind, you knew Dirty Mind.
I did.
I see. I didn't. I might.
I
know
recognize
that one, I'm not
it.
sure.
Let's just say I recognize that.
Okay.
Batman, Diamonds and Pearls,
Okay. Oh, I missed that one.
the black, the gold.
Yep. Man, just a musical genius.
Probably nothing from here on out.
And the funny thing is, you probably heard some of the songs.
I know I've heard the songs,
Oh,
but
yeah.
Wait, here's the fun thing. You've probably heard songs that he wrote. You just didn't know.
Right. That we didn't even know that he wrote. Yeah. That would be one thing I want to know. I want to know a list of.
If you Google
that's it.
songs Prince wrote but didn't perform, I can't remember how I worded it in there. You'll find a lot of pages, top 11, top 7.
Well, it'd probably be like
Just-
500 pages long.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's and the only reason why I didn't print that off is because I couldn't find an actual just list of them. They all had like their music videos with them. So it was I'd be cutting and pasting for a long time.
Right, or we just didn't have enough paper.
It might not have.
Considering that'd be the whole ream
The
plus.
500 plus ream of paper.
That's
I don't
in a
have enough
printer,
paper.
right.
I'm out of paper.
So I also printed off his singles.
Oh yeah.
Now
So
those
the
I
actual
might know.
songs.
Those I might know.
And this
Is it 500 pages long?
Well, it must be classified as what was deemed just a single, not just all of the songs, because there would be tons more than this, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So you can imagine 1983 here, Little Red Corvette, Delirious,
Yep.
Let's Pretend We're Married, Automatic. Well, there's more on that 1999 album.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the thing. In 1982, it's Sexuality, Do Me Baby in 1999. So they were released in 2 years, but it's on one album.
Mm-hmm.
So you see how that kind of is a
Okay.
little bit different.
Okay.
So yeah, this will take some reading in here, because there's a lot in here, obviously, but
It's a good thing we got an edit button.
yeah, right. Oh, of course, all of the songs in 84 are on Purple Rain.
You don't have to read all of them. Let's.
85 Raspberry Beret, Take Me With You, which was also
Oh, that's a good song.
on Purple Rain, but it was released in 85.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't even know the words.
No, it's
A
good.
Love
Because,
Bizarre.
like I said, my brain doesn't work
Look at
that way.
A Love Bizarre with Sheila E.
Yeah. Oh, she was also signing. She actually took the time, I guess, at his funeral. They had a very private funeral. They didn't.
Funeral?
Yep, at Paisley Park. They had.
Oh, you mean just a
private
remembrance?
ceremony. Yep.
today, yeah.
where it was Saturday. Yep, Saturday. Yeah, today.
Yeah.
Today. Okay, sorry. And today, and Sheila E. took time to stop and sign.
That's
nice.
nice.
Yep.
That's
Yep,
really
autographs
nice.
for fans.
Ooh, New Power Generation. You guys remember that song?
Yeah.
I'm in 90 now. 1990. New Power
I don't-
Generation. That was
I don't
awesome.
know
Okay.
if I've heard it. I've got Kiss on this one.
And Cream.
Kiss was a good song.
Get
I
on
know that
top.
one.
Cream.
Yeah, I knew Cream.
Bataclan. What the hell? Never even heard that one. Oh! We should look up this one. It's called Live from Paisley Park.
Oh, that's awesome.
Strange Relationship.
You ain't gonna be able to
live
find
in
it.
Minneapolis.
You have to buy it.
It looks like you can look it up on this website.
On that website, not on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah, no.
Remember, I did find a website with all tons of his music, and I'm
You did.
not gonna post
Disclose
that,
it,
and
right.
I'm not gonna tell anybody what it is
Because it's probably illegal.
because, well, it might
Well,
be, and yet I don't want people flooding that to steal the stuff.
Exactly.
That's
because-
really
because-
selfish, though, for our listeners to hear that.
But on top of the fact that Prince obviously did not allow his music to be released on YouTube for a reason.
But isn't it our responsibility as podcasters to
I
help
don't
people
know.
find the shit?
I don't know the background of the website I found, if it's good or bad, so I don't want to promote something that might be a bad thing.
Right. That he would not probably want to be released himself.
Maybe.
If I knew the name, I would say it now, just because I disagree with you guys, but I don't
Wow.
know the name of it.
Wow.
Well, I will tell you this. If you go to Google and search Prince free music or Prince music, and you go through a few, probably the first page on Google, you'll find it.
Okay.
Okay. Do that, people. Do that.
The Beautiful Experience. I remember that kind of.
Yeah.
Oh.
Are you just on
Let's go
I had
crazy.
none left. You took all the papers.
I took all the pages.
Oh.
Nice.
Nice. She's like, you're
She
done.
left me one
You're
side.
done.
Yes.
Erotic City. Everybody remembers that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Erotic City. Yeah.
Oh.
Hot Thing.
Yep.
Don't know that one.
Thieves in a Temple.
I don't know.
We should listen to that.
Yeah, that was a
Sorry.
good one. You've never heard that one?
Not that I know.
Okay.
Nothing compares to you.
Don't know if I know.
Well, that
one.
was Sinead O'Connor.
Nothing
That was Sinead
compares
O'Connor.
to you. But it's listed here in his fucking discography.
Yeah.
Discography. Sorry.
The most beautiful girl in the world.
Yes. No.
Most beautiful girl. in
We have to
the
listen to all of
world.
these tonight.
I'm sorry I keep singing these people.
That's
I
fine.
do not have a good voice. But
But it reminds people of, what it sounded like. Yeah, those were good songs. God, he was amazing.
And I don't know if people are anything like, I guess, myself and Jen that I know you are, probably don't know the name of a fucking song for the life of you, but you'll recognize it when you hear it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, unless it's ZZ Top, I can tell you
I'm
the name of
surprised
ZZ
they don't
Top
have
shit.
the song Nikki that was in Purple Rain. I
Well,
love
that
that
one
song.
was on my page.
It
I
was on your
believe.
page.
I think so.
love that.
Okay.
That song, even before I saw the movie Purple Rain, that song always reminded me of sex.
Okay.
But then when I saw him perform it in the movie,
Wow, it's not on here.
it's not? Okay.
I think this discography is his singles, so if it wasn't deemed a
Oh, if
single,
it wasn't a single. Okay.
it wouldn't
Okay.
be here.
But
Print,
to
yeah.
see him perform that in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
that was so sexual and everything. I was like, oh my God. I mean, that song has always reminded me of sex.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I Would Die For You's not on this list either.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was a great one.
You know,
Pussy
so
Control wasn't on there.
Yeah,
I
it wasn't
remember
on
it.
there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the shit
so
that
there's
wasn't on
probably a lot of songs that we do know of his not listed in what I got,
Mhm.
just because they weren't considered a single.
Right.
So
there. Yes.
that one was on there. I found
Yep.
that one.
It was?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
I asked Dad, because the audience doesn't know this, but my dad, as a blues musician, actually does one Prince song, and it's Kiss.
Yeah.
And I asked him to revive it because Prince died. And he
Yeah.
goes, I'm working on it.
Nice.
I said,
Good.
okay. I said,
Good.
do you need backup singers? He goes,
Yeah.
probably. And I
Yay!
said, we'll be your backup singers. Yeah.
Yay! I love it.
So we got to work on that.
All right. Well, maybe we should do that tonight.
I love being on stage.
Yeah.
I really love it.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
Getting up there singing backup.
Mm-hmm.
I would really like us to one day, like, I don't know, kind of encompass Prince's,
Yeah.
just his, what would you call that?
Or
Consciousness or
Consciousness,
something,
okay.
and just get up there
yeah.
and you and I sing a song when Dad's not expecting it, like when he's on break. And like we collaborate with his band members or something, and we just get up there and sing.
Sing Purple
Just
Rain.
from our fucking soul.
Right.
It doesn't matter the crowd. It doesn't matter who's there. I mean, Dad has so many people there. You know, he has a couple of dance groups that follow him.
Yeah.
But I think that would be awesome to do it just from the heart.
You can sing Nikki.
Yeah. Awkward.
I could have Tony fuck his guitar on stage.
There you go.
Yeah,
Which,
Dad, this
then-
song's dedicated towards you.
Right. And I
Yeah.
might just fall off the
Um,
stage because Tony's hot. And I'm like,
Nice.
oh my God. Oh no.
Yeah.
It's okay. My husband knows about it. He knows
Right.
about my crush.
Right.
I'm not telling him.
Nice.
I don't know what else do we have to say? I mean, before Prince died, what I would like to say is I always thought the guy was fantastic. I thought he could do some wonderful music. And again, after some of this stuff, I didn't pay attention to some of it. I didn't care for some of it. It was just I hate to say off the wall. It was just a little too unusual for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't dislike the guy for doing them. I still thought he was a fantastic talent, and I think he was a great entertainer. Never saw him in person, as we mentioned, but watching him perform, he didn't seem to be a person that would do it half-ass or would be the one doing the lip syncing. to his own stuff. He
No.
looked like he was performing his shit.
He was a true performer.
Yeah.
Right. And I think I don't know if I said this earlier, but I remember telling you this. I think the performers, the entertainers are becoming scarce today. We still have Madonna, but it's not like she's doing much of anything.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Lady Gaga.
Lady
which
Gaga,
is young. It's awesome.
which is young.
And Katy Perry, who's also a
and
performer.
Yeah, we're getting
She's a little more bubblegum. But
Right.
Adele.
Adele is a
But-
performer, but
Yeah.
she's more of a singer than
Okay.
a performer.
Right.
True.
And
Yeah, we're
when
losing
you're talking entertainers,
the
Right.
multi-talented.
you're talking about Freddie Mercury and Queen. You're
Mhm.
talking
Mhm.
about Prince, Michael Jackson,
Elvis.
Elvis.
Yeah.
You know, a guy you mentioned the other day. I wasn't a big fan of Jimi Hendrix,
Mhm.
Okay.
Stevie Ray Vaughan. These
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
did music.
Yeah.
Now you've got Kanye West,
Oh
Ugh.
God.
who doesn't know shit
No. Is
about
an
music.
asshole and unappreciative of his,
And,
of his
and what
audience.
do we
and-
have, like, in absence of that? We have our local performers, which are fantastic, but nobody knows about them. We
Right.
have
Right.
Hairball and Arena
Mhm.
and Davina and the Vagabonds. Those are true performers.
Yeah.
They
Real
love to perform,
performers.
and they make a great show.
Pat McLaughlin band.
Pat McLaughlin, exactly.
And
And yeah, that is a plug for our
Steve-
dad's
no,
band.
well,
Sorry,
and
but
also-
yes, it is. Steve Clark, Tony Hewell.
Yeah.
I mean, all
yeah.
these guys are true performers, but
Mhm.
it is a dying trade.
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
and-
Because
and it's
everything's
sad.
over synthesized and everything's over produced. You know, I mean, it just becomes such a production
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
so automatic that anybody can do it.
Yeah.
And it's not that we don't find people that are making songs today that can't come up with a decent song that's nice and fun to listen to, but when you take Bruno Mars,
Right.
I would
Mhm.
chalk him up as an entertainer. 'Cause
Mhm.
that boy can sing some shit,
Right.
and he can do great dancing while he's on
Mhm.
stage. I don't know if he can put that together for
Well,
real
that's what
or
with
not,
with
but-
his choreographer in a music video, he can, but I
Right.
don't know what he's like on
Can
stage.
he do it by
Exactly.
himself?
Exactly.
Right, yeah. That's
That's
the thing.
kind of my
Mhm.
point, because yeah, you can stick Katy Perry somewhere, and she did a Super Bowl halftime show.
And so many
But-
people hated it. I actually thought it was
I
funny.
thought it was great, but
it
here's
was
the thing.
weird, but I thought she was cute
And-
because
and
it was her.
I could
Right.
be so wrong, but I put $1 on it. She lip synced the stuff; it wasn't coming through the mic,
Right. Right.
because
That's
that's what
probably
people
true.
do
Mhm.
now. But Elvis didn't do that.
Mm-mm.
I can't imagine Prince ever doing
No.
that.
Guns
No.
N' Roses didn't do that, which is why they stopped fucking doing concerts for a while because they were too drunk to perform.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's the thing is like the true performers,
Right.
especially of our age.
Alice Cooper.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, is that guy
Right.
amazing?
Do we have any performers now that live, breathe, eat,
Music.
the music?
That they're not.
And performance,
And
not just the
perform,
music,
right.
but the
Like,
performance.
it's in their
I
blood.
think
They want to be a
Like,
performer.
you
I think
can't
it's
take this
music.
out of them. You cannot.
If they
remove that.
have the music,
Mhm.
Adele
the
has the
performance is a
music.
piece of cake.
Okay,
Mhm.
but Adele has the music, but she's not a performer like these guys are.
Right. Maybe because she's plus size. I don't know.
No,
that's
it's
the
not
thing.
just that. It's
Okay.
because the performance, like what these guys have, jumping off the speakers, the wow
That entertainer.
moment.
Well, Lady Gaga.
Well, that's because of her fashion.
Okay.
You know, do you understand what I'm
Right,
talking about?
right.
Is like the passion for
The performance.
the performance. Yeah, I mean we can cover it up with fashion.
Mhm.
But the thing is, Prince was fashion.
Right.
Prince
Oh,
was
absolutely.
100.
He
He's a
was
fashion
so-
icon.
He was so out of the realm back in the 80s. Like, guys were like, oh my God, he's gay because he wears purple.
Right. Everybody thought that he
wears
has
heels.
I
That's
remember
just
hearing this.
what he wore.
has both ears pierced, so he's bisexual.
Right. Right.
Is
That's
what I
how,
heard.
That's how redundant. That's how stupid we were back in the 80s.
And now, what is it now? Guys have fucking both ears pierced anyway, and it doesn't
Right,
matter.
right,
you know, I mean,
right.
they have gauges in their ears. What does that mean?
That's another thing.
Wide
I
open
heard on-
butthole?
I heard on KQ is that like he started so many things that so many
Oh, yes.
musicians repeated. Cool J, you know,
Yeah.
there was
Mhm.
what is it, a Xonophone or whatever, you know, with that he had an alarm or something like that. It started at the beginning of one of the
Oh
songs.
yes, okay, yeah.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
then Cool J like
Did that? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
there
what I'm
was-
saying. How many people do we have that's so original, not just with the singing, but also with the passion for the performance?
Absolutely.
But and again, I can't imagine it going anywhere past having the fundamentals, the basis, the music and the singing quality, and that being so important, because that's the product.
Yeah.
And if you have that passion for that, I think the performing it will just come with it. It's not priority one. It will come with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be perform it good and then everything else is good. I think that's where things are, and that's why it's not good.
Right.
Because then you're worried about putting on this big show and not worried about the product you're putting into
No,
the show.
that's what I'm saying though, is it has to be the dual thing. It's a dual purpose thing. Like Alice Cooper at, how old is he now? I can't remember.
70s.
70s or whatever. And we just watched him last year putting a fucking giant anaconda over his fucking shoulders just to do a bit.
Well,
I mean, who does that?
The thing that kind of draws me back is I appreciate Katy Perry. Wow. And, but the difference between her and Prince was, like you were saying earlier, at his Super Bowl performance, it was pouring rain, and he still was like, we are going out there 110%. Katy Perry, your backup dancers were horrible.
They were.
Absolutely horrible. And that's what people remember.
But what about the last one with that bitch, what's her name?
Well, Beyonce.
Yeah, so what the fuck?
Beyonce, right, that was horrible performance. And all you were worried about was making a message. You missed your mark.
Everybody was so like, oh my god, you were so Black Panther in that.
Beyonce,
You're so amazing.
You were shit.
But see, this is
terrible.
But this is the exact point that we're making.
Yeah.
Is that Prince was an entertainer because he was a true musician.
Right.
And now you got these fucking morons
who are faking it,
that want to open their mouth because they get a microphone in front of them.
Right, exactly.
It's like, you know what? Do what you do.
Their
and
own
just shove
agenda.
that microphone right down that throat and choke yourself to death.
Oh my god, I just had an epiphany. That's what it is these people are like pushing their own agenda.
Yeah.
The true performers are not pushing the agenda. They're
They're
letting their shit flow through the music.
Right. And
they're letting people
let it rain
them.
harder. That's fucking awesome.
You know what people say is like you catch more flies with flies with honey than you do vinegar.
Yep.
If you let your message flow through your music just with your passion,
right,
that collects so much more people than a vinegar of fucking shoving it down their throat saying, fuck you, look what I'm fucking wearing.
The last Super Bowl performance, I was so fucking irritated only because of the fact that, one, she interrupted Bruno Mars' song.
Yeah.
2, for a fucking message that, you know what? You haven't touched anybody's hearts. You're touching maybe a third of the population, and they're all grouped in it, but you still interrupted Bruno Mars'
And you
song.
annihilated all of your white fans.
Exactly.
By pushing that. Alienated. Right.
Yeah.
Did I say that wrong?
Yeah, a little bit. You're excited.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I don't. I get excited and I start singing.
She
shit
did
wrong.
though, absolutely, and she's part white herself. Okay, so your mother is gonna just fuck off. Or
that's
whoever,
nice. Yeah. So are you ready to just fucking shoot her
your
in the head and put her in a fucking grave?
Because that's what you're doing by coming on stage as a Black Panther. Whatever. Yeah.
White people are bad.
Yeah. Well, then
it's like if I went on stage with a fucking Ku Klux Klan hood over my head, I'd be shot instantly.
Right. Right.
You don't push your own agenda.
Beyonce, you ruined the last Super Bowl.
She did. She's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I don't care who the entertainer is and how I may like your song or not. Actor, singer, whoever. Do your job and shut the hell up.
Right.
Yes.
Just because you are allowed to have a stage,
because you're popular,
right? That doesn't mean I want to know your bullshit,
right?
Exactly.
You've summed it up much better than both Cheryl and I just went off on a tangent about. Right.
You're getting paid to do a certain fucking job.
That's right. I want to see you act in that movie and entertain me, and then shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
You can believe what you want. I don't need to hear it.
Nope.
You were an entertainer.
That's it.
If you were just a singer, then we don't need to see you.
No.
There was.
You can be this. What was it? CC in the Music Factory. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
You can be the skinny bitch up there lip singing to the big bitch in the batch going. You know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We don't need to hear your.
We don't need to see.
No, you're getting paid enough
popular.
to shut the fuck up.
Exactly. Sorry, honey. Go ahead.
There was this interview. I watched about a month or so ago with Elvis. And he was sitting up at this table and they were asking him questions. And you couldn't hear the question. I think if I could get the volume loud enough, I could have heard the question. Mm-hmm. But I think it had something to do with a political thing. And when they asked him, his response, I think, was classic. And I think every entertainer, celebrity, star, whatever you want to call yourself, needs to learn from this. His response was, I'm sorry, I don't have a comment. I'm an entertainer. I don't know. I can't answer that.
Right.
Awesome.
Right.
That was his response.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask me my opinion on abortion and I'm a singer, I'm just an entertainer. I have nothing to say about that.
Right. You have any
That's none of my
views?
fucking business
Right.
because I'm not running for office.
Right. You have any political views, put it in a fucking song and make it so it's entertaining.
And something else I wanted to
it's
point
the same
out.
Thing. Can I just interject?
Please do
Sorry.
that. I just lost this point, so I don't want to lose it again.
Okay. No, write it down. If you're an actor or a singer or a performer, right, what you bring up on stage is a persona. Do you not feel that when we go up on Dad's stage and we're like dancing?
Right.
You become outside of yourself.
Yep.
Or we're singing backup.
Yeah.
You become outside of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You are literally performing to the crowd that's listening to you. You're reading them.
Yep.
And you're going, I want to make them happy.
I want to make contact.
Character.
I want
You're
to make
a character,
contact
right.
with everybody. Exactly. Like
Your
I want them to feel the music that
Yes.
I'm feeling.
Because you become popular does not mean that your personal agenda is the right place to exhibit
make a statement.
that.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And I don't agree with that.
No.
You are a performer
Mm-hmm.
and people appreciate you because you're a performer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they actually like you more if you're a little bit mysterious because they're like, I want to know this person.
Right. That was, and leading into that, what I wanted to say before was, I don't know who it was spoke to Prince and his conduct. He, being a private person, he said he was very private, except with his music.
Yes.
Every point he ever wanted to make is in his music.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
Make a fucking
he
song about
said everything about his religion, everything about sex, everything about everything in his music.
Yeah.
His whole life is in his music.
Absolutely.
And if you want to know about him, listen to all of his songs.
Listen to his
That's
music.
where it is.
That's where it is.
Exactly.
So, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have to believe as long as I like the song. That's all I really give a shit about. I don't need to listen to your message. I just like the music. So I can choose with that.
I don't even have to hear the words.
That's right.
You know, if that's how you want to buy the album, okay, well then buy the fucking album.
You made a great movie. I loved your character in it. You got an award. You're up there. Thank you so much. And I believe in all this crap. And shut the fuck up and sit down.
Nobody cares.
Right.
Now I don't like you.
Yeah. I used to like Beyonce.
Yeah, I did
until the last Super Bowl and finding out what the message was. And I'm like, you know what, you fucking cunt?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
She has no appreciation for anything. She's just all about her and her Jay-Z fucking... Both of you have white and black parents. So get the fuck
That's
off
nice.
the stage.
And he looks like a fucking bullfrog, by the way.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah.
It just.
I mean, we're getting completely off topic, but I think what we're driving from is that Prince did not do that. You know,
he didn't do that.
You're right, Eric. He put all of his feelings and thoughts
in all of the true
political views, religious belief
went behind the. They were in the background.
Right. He put all of his feelings into the songs.
That was it.
Yeah.
It came out as a flow.
Yep.
In the music.
And if you wanted somebody to believe you that did not believe you before, put it in a song, and you may change their mind.
And I honestly can say that as much as Prince, changed, personal-wise, with his whole Jehovah's Witness, with his whole non-swearing, with his whole... the ebb and flow throughout his career. Yeah. I have never heard a Prince song that I do not like.
Exactly. Yep.
Because I feel it.
Even if I don't believe it.
That's what I'm saying. I might not agree with his shit or whatever, but I do agree with what his music is and what I feel when I listen to it. I'm like, I can connect with that. Yep. I can connect with that, even if it's just for a second.
Because it came from the heart.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, exactly. Yep. People are trying to put a religious or a political spin on it, saying ahead, I'm popular,
but make sure it's
to me.
Fucking from the heart.
Now,
you know,
we talk. He became Jehovah's Witness.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't start making Christian music.
Nope. He did not.
Right?
He did not.
He didn't want to.
Right.
And that was fine.
Yeah.
That's
I think you can find God in music, though.
Absolutely.
I know Eric's not going to have an opinion on this, but I really think you can find God in music.
Yeah. Yep.
You feel something and you're just like, I feel so connected right now.
Mm-hmm. I think music connects me to whatever I'm feeling at the time.
Well,
know?
even if it's not that like serious of a connection, if you're just like, oh God, I really love this song.
Right, you hear a beat on the radio and you're like, oh, this is my jam.
Right.
You know, it flows through your body. It flows
But I think
through your blood.
if it makes you think of it like a religious thing, like, you know, my Lord, this is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, you can connect with it that way.
Yep.
You can.
Music is a huge connection to human beings.
or Jesus fucking Christ, this sucks.
Exactly.
That's still a fucking connection.
Exactly.
It really is.
Yeah. But Prince was a freaking magician. He was beyond comprehension of a magician.
He was a mogul.
Yeah.
A music mogul.
There you go. Better than what I said.
It's so sad. I'm so...
Shit. I'm getting the axe over here.
Just edit that.
Let's edit that nice.
Music mogul. We're gonna go with that.
Well, I don't have anything else to add myself. I don't know if there's anything else you guys have to say.
No, really the last couple of days I've been really kind of down because of that. Because we've lost him.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't. I can tell you, I can feel that there's been a loss to things that we know, because there has been a lot of deaths this year in the generation that we recognize, and I know there's been on social media a lot of people going, "Oh, this 2016 has been sucking so far," and because we've been losing all these people, but you have to understand, for the people that are recognizing that right now, it's because that's the generation that recognizes those people.
Right.
And that's going to be happening more and more as we, age. So it's not shocking or surprising to me. I mean, it's not that I wouldn't have expected him to freaking die this early. I mean, he was a young guy.
And I took it for granted. And that's, I think, what I'm kicking myself for.
And so there's a loss to that. It makes you realize, hey, you know what? I better do some things if I want to, because, there's less in front than there is behind.
Well, it reminds you that life is short.
Right.
And you got to do the shit that you really want to do. It doesn't matter. Work, responsibilities, wherever. Get out there and fucking see the people that you want to see.
Make your contribution, do your job, and then go do what you got to do.
Donate to the things that you want to donate. Right. Go do the shit that you want to do. If you want to sit there and be like, oh, I've always wanted a fucking mud race, then fucking get in the Jeep. Go do it.
Yep. Give it a shot once. Yeah. But although I do recognize that it is a huge loss, not just in the music world, but in a personal way with Minnesota, and then I've never lived directly in Minneapolis. Well, I did for a while, but still in suburbs. There's still a connection that person was here and contributed to the state. So that's great, and to do something that people typically don't do, which is stay. I can't think of forgetting the word I want to use, but respectful to that place.
Right.
Heritage.
Okay.
To stay connected to that.
What was one of his lyrics? Is dipped in the lakes of what was it? Dipped in the lake of Minnetonka, or you know what I'm saying? There's a lyric.
Is there a lyric? I'm not sure.
It's like,
it was a line in the movie.
Well, it was about something about like get blessed in the lakes of Minnetonka.
That was in the movie Purple Rain.
Okay, where
he was like, there's like a tradition here.
Purify yourself.
You have to purify yourself.
That was a line in the movie.
In the lake.
In Lake Minnetonka.
Yes.
And Apollonia just right there and then fucking strips off and jumps in to the river.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. And she gets out and he goes, wait. And she gets out and he goes, that's not Lake Minnetonka. She's like, you asshole, or whatever. I mean, she didn't probably say asshole, but she's like,
something that they mentioned, and this will be about the last thing I have to say, is something they mentioned on the morning show, because that had come up, is before he made that movie, he was not a huge celebrity.
Right.
And all of a sudden he's pitching, I want to make this movie about this. This is his music. And we're going to film it in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And he got some people together to do it. But nowadays, people would have looked at that and said, "You're going to do that in Minnesota in the fucking winter?
Right.
Yeah.
What the hell are you? No, we ain't doing this shit."
Right.
And it was a huge success right out of the
hit.
gate. So,
Yeah.
it just goes to show sometimes people have a good goddamn idea, and regardless of what you might think, you
Right.
gotta
And
go with
Cheryl,
it.
do you remember where we stayed on 4th Street?
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
fifth, no,
Fourth
yeah,
and
fourth
University.
And University, yeah.
Yeah, and they were saying that was like kind of his hangout spot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, although we, I recognize that loss. I don't mourn. I celebrate the fact that we have what we have from him.
I
And,
celebrate it too, but I still mourn.
I'm not gonna be sad about it.
Mm.
I'm going to be missing the possibility of being able to do something because with his existence, because he's no longer there. But no, I'm happy that we have what we have, though.
It's from the emotionally deficient.
Yes.
Well,
not
that's-
saying it's a good outlook. It's a
no,
good outlook.
That's still an emotional response,
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, but it is. It's just a future perspective
It's
on
an
it, which is
emotionally
good.
deficient response.
But it just shows, that I don't know. My feeling of it is that Prince was he was a beautiful man. He music was in his blood.
Oh, he was so totally beautiful. I totally fuck him.
No, I mean, they talk about music's in his blood. No, he was music.
He was music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you're right.
absolutely.
I with you right there.
Yeah.
He was music.
He would have been a guy I would have wanted to meet.
Yeah.
And there's not guys I want to meet.
Right.
Him, I would have wanted to meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I heard that was very casual with people. He would go to Electric Fetus down in Minneapolis and shake the guy's hand and be like, "Oh, thanks for your support." And Prince is like, "You're welcome," and just buy 12 CDs and then walk out. So he's a very cool, casual guy. Was like, "Don't paparazzi's after me." He never was like that. He was like, he would stop and shake people's hand. He would stop and sign autographs.
It's almost like Elvis buying that one chick a Cadillac.
Yeah.
Just takes the time to meet somebody.
Right.
And they're like, "Oh yeah, I was turned down or whatever," so he buys her the fucking car and gives it to her.
Well, even at Paisley Park when I saw him, it wasn't they didn't make it a big deal when he was coming up on stage.
Because he didn't take himself as I'm a superstar.
Right.
Fuck everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He
He
might have
Mariah
been.
Carey, where she's like, "I'm a diva."
And he might have been, "I'm a superstar."
Suddenly,
but he never said fuck anybody else.
You'd see him walk across, be on stage and shake up some people's hands, and then all of a sudden he'd be up on stage, and then they would pop the lights on. If it was a diva, they'd be, let's see where he goes.
Or let's start the band first, and then
time.
she comes up.
Right. No, you didn't even know Prince was up on stage until they popped the lights up on. And he's like, "Hey, we're gonna play a couple songs, take a break, enjoy yourself." And that was it. It was just fucking very casual.
Down to earth.
Yes.
I would call him down to earth.
Oh, man.
And incredibly sexy. I have to say that.
Yeah.
I know he's only 2 inches taller than I am. 3 inches.
Shorter than you.
No, I'm 5'5". He was 5'8".
No, he's 5'2".
5'2".
Oh,
Yeah,
so
depending upon what you
3
read,
inches shorter. I'd still fuck him.
Depending upon what you read, he was 5'2" to 5'4".
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, even if he was still around today, I'd still fuck him.
But just a beautiful person.
He was his fucking bone structure,
right,
in his face.
He was
gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to say,
he was a good-looking man, right?
With all the speculation people are having with what may have happened, you got to know he took care of himself because he still looked just the same as he did in the 80s.
I think he looked a little sexier. Losing
but
a little
I'm saying
meat
he
and getting
looked
more angular.
the same.
He did.
He didn't look aged like he'd been diving into a bottle for fucking days,
right,
doing drugs and shit like that. He took care of himself.
If he had a plastic surgeon, I'm convinced it's the same one that Tom Cruise had.
Yeah, no, it was just
honey, I want to hear you say it. As a guy, and I know it makes you uncomfortable, that was a sexy motherfucker.
He was a good-looking guy.
I can't judge him that way.
Can't do it. Can you just say he was a good-looking man?
I have no idea.
I have no idea. He was hot. No?
Couldn't tell you.
He had good bone structure?
I couldn't say that because he was short.
He had a strong presence.
He had strong bones, jaw structure.
No, just...
How about this? The cut of his jib was interesting.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
There you go. All right.
That's as good as you're going to get from Eric. We love it. Good night.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Prince, we love you. Yeah.
That's great.
All right.
Anything more?
No, I think we're good here.
Yeah.
Please put comments on the
Yes.
page. We would love to hear them. We'd love to address them. It's a huge loss, not only for us, but for Minnesota and apparently the world.
The world. Yeah.
Absolutely. Leave your comments. Name your song that connects with you, and if it happens to be Purple Rain, maybe put a reason why. We'd love to know.
Or any other reason.
Yeah.
Like, what, Cheryl?
Also, if you happen to make it down to First Avenue within the next day or two, please post a video because I'm dying. I want to see it. If I don't make it down to tomorrow, I will probably be devastated.
There are tons of videos.
Okay. Well,
I don't care if you make a
fake
fake Gmail account, so nobody can identify that you actually listen to our shit.
That's fine. Still
just post it on the
post it.
fucking thing.
Post it because I want to. I literally want to be down there right now.
Yeah, please do it. We'd love to hear it, see what you got to say and your perspective on the musical genius we are no longer with here on Earth.
Yep.
And thank you so very much for listening.
Yep, we love you.
Appreciate your time. This is Cheryl, Jen, and Eric. We're going to check out here on In the Reel, and we'll be back to you hopefully in the near future.
Yep.
So thanks again for your time.